ทัศน์เคยได้รับพรจากฮอลลี่ไลท์เพราะฉะนั้นท่านถือว่าเก่งกาจที่สุดไม่จริงท่านแทนต้องหาที่เก่งที่สุด
นี่อย่าทะเลาะกันสิพวกเจ้าสองคนน่ะเป็นเพื่อนสนิทกันไม่ใช่หรือไงฮะ
ใครจะอยากเป็นเพื่อนกับเจ้านี่กันข้าก็ไม่ได้อยากเป็นเพื่อนเจ้าเหมือนกันแน่
ตอนนั้นพวกเราก็ทะเลาะกันเพราะเรื่องแบบนี้สินะท่านราชินีนะสามารถยิงธนูสยบราชาปีศาจได้เลยนะ
แต่ว่ามาลอสเก่งกว่าราชาปีศาจอีกนะ
นี่พวกเจ้าเนี่ย
ราชินีก็เก่งกว่าอยู่แล้ว
เลิกทะเลาะกันได้แล้ว
เจ้าไม่เชื่อข้าหรือไงอ่ะ
นี่ข้าน่ะไปเจอที่หนึ่งมาเราลองไปเดินสำรวจกันมะถ้าเป็นเพื่อนกันจริงแล้วก็เจ้าต้องไปกับข้านะมาเถอะหน้าเร็วสิ
กราบเธอฉันว่าเราไม่ควรมาที่นี่นะ
จะตาขาวไปหน่อยเลยนะเฮ้ยนี่เมาเซียรีบมาดูนี่เร็วเข้าไฟดวงนี้สวยมากเลยนะ
เฮ้ยดีลันดออย่าแตะไฟนั่นหลบไป
เมาเซียไม่นะนี่ข้าทำอะไรลงไป
อีลันดอร์เจ้าจงไปสำนึกผิดต่อต้นไม้โลกเสียเถิดบาปของเจ้ายากที่จะอภัยได้แต่ถึงแม้จะขังเจ้าไว้สัก100 ปีก็คงไม่อาจชดเชยสิ่งใดได้เพราะฉะนั้นเจ้าจงออกเดินทางตามหาวิธีฟื้นคืนไฟแห่งดวงวิญญาณเสียเถิด
เลิกโทษตัวเองได้แล้วอีลันดอร์พี่อีลันดอร์พี่ครับเฮ้ยทำไมเงียบไปอ่ะพี่เป็นอะไรหรือเปล่าฮะ
นี่พวกเจ้ารู้อะไรไหมการมีเพื่อนที่คอยปกป้องซึ่งกันและกันก็ทำให้พวกเจ้าเป็นฮีโร่ที่เก่งกาจได้นะ
ยินดีต้อนรับเข้าสู่ฮีโร่สปอตไลท์วันนี้เรามาพบกับเอลันดอร์ฮีโร่ประเภทแครี่ชีวิตนั้นงดงามเสมอดุจดังบุกผายามแรกอลิมสกิลติดตัวโซซิล 1. การโจมตีปกติจะสร้างโซซิลใส่เป้าหมายเมื่อครบ3 ครั้งจะสร้างความเสียหายเวทแก่ศัตรูในบริเวณ 2. เมื่อใช้สกิลหรือเก็บโซแลมการโจมตีปกติครั้งต่อไปจะโจมตีเพิ่ม1 ครั้ง 3. ภายใน3 วินาทีหลังจากใช้ทุกสกิลของเอลันดอร์เขาจะสามารถกดซ้ำเพื่อย้ายตำแหน่งไปยังโซแลมได้ทันทีสกิลบัตเตอร์ไฟวิงเมื่อใช้สกิลจะพุ่งไปยังทิศทางที่เลือกโดยทิ้งโซแลมไว้ณตำแหน่งเดิมตอนเลือกศัตรูโดยการกดสกิลนี้เข้าไปโจมตีแล้วรีบกดกลับอย่างรวดเร็วสกิลบัตเตอร์ไฟแดนซ์เมื่อใช้สกิลจะสั่งให้โซแลมบินรอบบริเวณและสร้างความเสียหายเวทรอบตัวกดสกิลนี้ทิ้งไว้เพื่อใช้เป็นโอกาสหลบหนีศัตรูในยามคับขันอันติเมทสกิลมอฟเมื่อใช้สกิลจะส่งโซแลมพุ่งไปยังทิศที่เลือกสร้างความเสียหายเวทและผลักศัตรูทั้งหมดในระยะหลังจากนั้นโซแลมจะค่อยๆเคลื่อนที่อย่างช้าๆไปเรื่อยๆผลักศัตรูที่ประชิดตัวออกไปเพื่อให้เสียเวลาเข้าประชิดหรือจะใช้สกิลนี้หนีศัตรูเพื่อไปยังทิศตรงข้ามความสำคัญที่สุดสำหรับเอลันดอร์ก็คือความคล่องแคล่วแครี่คนนี้มีสกิลที่ถูกออกแบบมาเพื่อจุกโดยเฉพาะเขาสามารถไปทางซ้ายและไปทางขวาในเวลาที่แทบจะพร้อมเพรียงกันได้หากตัวผู้เล่นเข้าใจขั้นตอนในการใช้สกิลของเขามากดีพอในช่วงต้นเกมการทำดาเมจของเขายังค่อนข้างต่ำแต่เขาก็สามารถใช้บัตเตอร์ไฟวิงช่วยในการกดดันเลนได้โดยการยิงทีเผลอการเคลียร์คลิปของเขาจัดได้ว่าไม่แย่เพราะสกิลติดตัวของเขาสามารถสร้างความเสียหายเป็นบริเวณสำหรับการต่อสู้กับฮีโร่หากเป็นฮีโร่ยิงไกลด้วยกันแล้วเอลันดอร์อาจจะต้องใช้จังหวะยิงฟรีเพื่อสร้างความได้เปรียบในการแลกแต่หากต้องปะทะกับฮีโร่ตีไกลเขาจะได้เปรียบมากเพราะเขาสามารถใช้บัตเตอร์ไฟวิงและบัตเตอร์ไฟแดนในการหลอกสกิลทิ้งระยะและหลบหนีได้แบบต่อเนื่องจนยากที่สายประชิดตัวจะตามทันนอกจากนี้อัลติเมทอย่างม็อบยังใช้ขัดจังหวะทีมไฟและจังหวะไล่ล่าของศัตรูได้ดีมากเอลันดอร์สามารถเล่นได้ทั้งป่าและเลนแล้วแต่คุณจะเลือกอย่าลืมกดติดตามเพื่อชมวิดีโอใหม่และไลฟ์สดก่อนใคร
No sense in running from me.
Back. Legendary.
อย่าลืมกดติดตามเพื่อชมวิดีโอใหม่และไลฟ์สดก่อนใคร
ครั้งนี้ห้องเราต้องชนะ ขอลูกแบงค์หน่อย เฮ้ นี่มันไม่ใช่ลูกแม็กซ์ซะหน่อย
ไฮเยเท
ขอเงินตัดผมหน่อยสินะ100 เดียวเอง ขอร้องล่ะ ไม่งั้นฉันแย่แน่ๆ ขอบคุณนะ
ไฮเยเท
เฮ้ย ขอตังค์กินข้าวหน่อยดิ
เราใช้ไปหมดแล้ว
นั่นไง
เป็นควายเหรอ ไถเก่งจัง
ว่าไงนะ
ออกกำลังกายเหรอ กล้ามใหญ่จัง
ใครเตะวะ
ไฮเยเทเท
โอ้ยฉีโซนะ
โดนจู่โจมแบบสายฟ้าแลบ
มาชมคนอื่นว่าน่ากินแบบนี้มัน
คาราเกะ
ขอให้เลี่ยนตาย
วาซาเบะ
มีของอร่อยไม่แบ่งเลยนะ
อะไรก็ไม่รู้ เล่นเกมดีกว่า เฮ้ฮีโร่ตัวใหม่นี่นา ชื่ออะไรกัน
And we're live, guys. Here we are at the arena of Valor International Championship 2019 quarterfinals. I like to say day 2 because we just finished yesterday. It was between IGP Gaming and Unsold Stuff Gaming. Fantastic series. We went up to game 7.
Unbelievable series there, and definitely making us want more from the 2019 ANC. And of course, today I think the two teams will not disappoint as well. We have Team Flash facing up against AHQ Esports Club in our second quarterfinals for the AIC 2019.
Definitely another set series to kind of look out for, because I feel like all of the matches that we'll have for this entire quarterfinals, aside from probably the final day, which is between Hong Kong Attitude and One Team Esports, are gonna be like, again, another David and Goliath, the top seed versus the underdog, and I think it's safe to say it kind of goes the same way as of the moment with Team Flash and AHQ. Granted, though, that AHQ have performed slightly better than Unsold Stuff Gaming in the group stage, they are still not really on the tippy top. They were pretty shaky with their overall performance. They were only, I think, about what was it, 5-5, 5 wins, 5 losses. That's not like the best in terms of records compared to like BRU, who has 9 wins, 1 loss.
Exactly. They had, people wouldn't say they had the tougher group, but their performance was, middling. Wasn't the worst, wasn't the best either. So definitely consistency is something that we have to look out for, especially in a best of 7. If you look at the format for our quarterfinals, we do have the global ban pick that we kept on harping about yesterday, about how the player depths and the hero pools really come into play. And today, we're going to have a hell of a series in our hands.
And that just means that, again, these teams will be playing a much different type of game compared to the group stage, where it was always reset every single time. Now they have to be put to the brink. And we saw what happened yesterday. We saw that IGP weren't really the kings of the court, so to speak, when they went up against Unsold Stuff Gaming, where USG really did bring out the best picks at the very start. They got a quick 2-0. IGP, though, they kind of rallied back, went 2-0 themselves, making it a 2-2. Then game 5, it was, I believe, Unsold Stuff Gaming, because they capitalized on a mistake of IGP. And then, kind of like back and forth. And then game 7, it was IGP to win out. So that's something.
Yeah, and Team Flash is one of those teams that, plays very similar to how IGP plays. They are, of course, from Vietnam as well. They are the #1 seed coming into AIC 2019, taking the first seed from AOG Winter. And they also dominated in AOG Winter as well, taking the first slot. for Vietnam. AHQ, of course, are no slouches themselves, coming into AIC 2019, qualifying from the ROV Pro League Season 4 in second place, only losing out to BRUTD, who took top seed, and also is the top seed of Group B as well, which Team Flash did manage to draw against as well. Team Flash was the only team that was able to take a single map away from BRUTD, so definitely, like you said, this is yet another David versus Goliath scenario. But you know, as far as yesterday's series goes, there's no underdog in this series. Everyone is pulling out all the stops, and hopefully we'll see a much closer series than what the papers do predict.
I think the term that we're looking at or looking for is anything can happen.
Exactly.
Especially in this best of 3. Now, something I also wanted to talk about was maybe some of these viewers right now, the fans of AHQ, are kind of skeptical of the team themselves, because during the group stage, AHQ went up against the former AHQ members, which was Team Olympus, J-Jack, Sun, the Koreans. We saw that they went up against, I believe, AHQ and wiped the floor with them 2-0. Now, AHQ coming into the playoffs, they're not looking as sturdy as the other teams. They still have a lot to prove themselves, and if they can beat out Team Flash here, at least that'll say to themselves that we're not just here by chance. We just didn't get here because we thought we didn't get lucky. We're here because we are a better team. We can perform better. But again, going up against this, I think a lot of the other viewers as well might say that Team Olympus was maybe the other team that we were looking for to actually reach into the playoffs. But you know, just because of how the playoffs stood in terms of the points, it seems like they weren't really lucky enough. Even though the points for Team Olympus was actually neck and neck to Team Evos, which is -2, -2.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the tournament organizers did to kind of tie-break it, but Evos were the one who got into the playoffs instead of Team Olympus.
Most probably they took a look at the head-to-head matchup between both of those teams. I don't recall what was the exact results when both of them faced against each other, but most likely that EVOS probably beat them in a head-to-head matchup. So there we have it. We do have of course EVOS moving forward, which we will be seeing tomorrow as well. We will have EVOS facing up against BRUTD.
I mean, that's a little bit of like when you hear BRU, they're probably the top seed right now. Can we really do it? You know, EVOS is obviously, if you've been in the mobile gaming scene, you've watched the games, you know that EVOS is probably one of the most decorated in their entire industry. And going up against BRU, which is probably the scariest team, because I think in the regions, the strongest right now are Vietnam and Thailand.
Yes, exactly.
And BRU are the top dogs in their own country, so something to kind of be a little bit afraid. But we'll see what EVOS has done in these free days that they had to kind of prepare against that Titan. But again, for today, it's going to be Team Flash and AHQ Esports Club. Yeah, I like that how you brought up preparation coming into this series is really important. You have to understand, you know, what your opponent plays a lot and what are your own team strengths as well. And AHQ, they are no slouches. They have a very star-studded lineup. You know, you have Taos, you have Rush, as well as Hack coming from Korea. You have, of course, NT and KSSA as well. Very decorated players on their own rights. But looking at Team Flash, you read out the roster and people shaking their boots. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. They have a nice mix of players from their DS lane, which kind of interchanges from Gao and Ellie. They also have ADC. Weirdly enough, in the jungle role, but he's been really he plays super well, especially once he gets that crick knack. XB has shown a lot of understanding with with the picks that he has in the mid lane. He can basically use almost everything to the fullest extent. Datkoi and Pro E also pretty good, but I guess in that regard, I would also look at HQ Esports Club. You already said it. KSSA is one of the players, and NT even, their combo, how they kind of synergize with each other as support and ADC, I think might be able to win against Datkoi and Pro E, because the KSSA is, I think, a man with a plan. He really loves to be super aggressive. He really loves to be in the fights, and he will not stop to get you that proper information that you need so that the team can follow suit, which I think is going to be really important here, because Team Flash is also just an aggressive team. You have to match that aggression. Yeah, it's actually beautiful when you watch. If you look at the lanes happening between KSSA and NT, they know when to be aggressive. They know when to just play defensive, backing off, and I think that's one of the strengths of AHQ Esports, is that their core
safe lane, I would say, with NT as well as KSSA. They know how to capitalize on the lane, and of course the rotations coming in. Hack is one of those players that really like to set the tempo, rotate a lot with his Raz, with his Krixie as well. And looks like, just the schedule for our entire AIC 2019 so far. We have gone through the entire group stage throughout last week, and we are on the second day of the quarterfinals happening here as well.
And of course, next week it's going to be the semifinals and the finals. I actually made a mistake. I thought the semis was going to happen right after quarterfinals, but come on, guys. We need to give these players some time to recuperate, regenerate, and resuscitate, because they need to figure out how to deal with their next opponent. Speaking of next opponent, whoever wins this best of 7 between Team Flash and AHQ Esports Club will be going up against one of the juggernauts of Vietnam, which is IGP Gaming. So definitely need a lot of, preparations before that match to happen. Whoever wins in this one is definitely in a ride. And of course, here's the overview of our prize pool. Overall, $500,000 US.
Yeah, the distribution coming in here. We did have Unsold Stuff Gaming finishing in shared 5th to 8th place yesterday, and they just net themselves $16,000 US for all their hard work. Of course, one of the best performances so far from a Japanese team, but of course they were obviously hoping to get something more. IGP Gaming moving on to at least securing top 4 after defeating Unsold Stuff 4-3 in a very tight series yesterday. But we will have our second semi-finalist after today's series. Will it be Team Flash, or will it be AHQ Esports Club?
And of course, they're not out of it just yet. If they lose in the semifinals, they can actually play for 3rd and 4th place. So those of the fans out there, you're going to be wondering, oh, is it going to be the 3rd? Is it going to be 4th? They still have to play a best of 7, I believe, to be able to, see the outcome of that particular position, or ranking of 3rd and 4th place. And okay, something I really want to point out as we are going to go into this best of 7 is that we talked about how yesterday IGP as well as USG, it seems like they were very neck and neck to each other, and it just goes to show how stressful a best of 7 can really pan out. You have yourself the point of, again, we say that it's not a race, it's a marathon. The longer that you can keep yourself consistent, the better your outcomes will become. And then there's also the point of being able to understand how the global ban works, because again, I come from games where banning is just kind of, it resets every single time, but when it's the entire series, you're really pushed to the limit that, okay, we can use this, let's say Hero A on game 1, but then you actually plan him to use on game 2, but then they're like, oh, right, we actually already use him, so we have to use another substitute, another improvise. But the similarities of heroes in AOV, even though they're kind of, again, kind of similar to each other from, like, let's say from the supports and whatnot, there's still that small difference that makes or break, the comfort of the player, how it affects the entire game. And that is why they think like IGP were a little bit shaken in their boots, but USG did a fantastic job. Now it's AHQ's turn. If they can do the same thing against Team Flash, then we might be looking at another Game 7 here. But again, we'll just have to see.
Yeah, both of these teams, they do have very similar hero pools, so it will be like a rush to see who gets the most top tier picks here. Hayate is always gonna be in contention. Omen is up there as well. Your Krizix, your Zip. Both of these teams will be vying to be able to pick them up at the opportune time. It's not always about picking them up first. It's about picking them up when your lineup, when the strategy fits it, and also when it counters the opponent. So you can't just go into the series. I want to pick up our 2 strongest heroes right away, because in the long run that might just come back to bite you in the end.
That's true, because I feel like some of these, I think IGP yesterday, they were like, we'll just take this loss, and then the next game, that's when we're going to be performing.
This a little bit from highlights from yesterday on how IGP almost losing up to, oh no, this is from the group stage.
I think we just watch this and let it simmer in.
See a glimpse of Team Flash
Yeah.
coming to the stadium, one of our two contenders of the day, to find out who will be moving on to the semifinals of the 2019 AIC. And what a star-studded lineup once again. There's just so much hope riding behind Team Flash right now. Their group stage performance was, of course, probably to them not the best performance they could have done, but 3 wins and 2 ties, definitely not any slouches for themselves.
Oh man, I mean they're really at the tippy top of the spectrum in terms of points. So definitely no slouches to be had at that. But again, we'll just kind of see how their players adapt in this scenario. We've seen kind of Team Flash, the reason why they kind of went 1-1 against a couple of the teams here, not only because obviously some of the teams were as good as them, was that I felt like Team Flash, they really love to commit to these team fights wherein, again, AOV kind of revolves around being able to know when to stop and then reset yourself, get more economy, because this fast of a game, you know, kind of like 5 minutes in, it's like it's the early game. Then once you reach 11 minutes in, it's already the late game. Being able to get the resources that you need, even if you lose the team fights, is I think a much more important fact for these teams to keep themselves afloat. If you can have a composition that can team fight and also has you know, some late game power, why not just try to go for the late game? I mean, it's you just have to wait like 12 minutes and then it's fine. But here we go. We already start the drafting phase onto game numero uno, and AHQ Esports Club, let's check it out. Omen, Hayate, Liliana, while Team Flash, Verez, Crixie, and Senyo.
Not many surprises coming out here. The Zip as well as the Chris expand from the side of Team Flash. While HQ taking out the Darcy as well as the Florentino. Very standard. All of these heroes are really top tier in the current patch right now. And of course, having the first pick Omen available for AHQ, they really want to take out that that very strong Dark Slayer hero right away, which opens up so many possibilities in your lineup. And you know, that flexibility is something that every single team wants to take right now, because when you are more flexible, you gain an edge in terms of drafting over the opponent.
Very true. One of the things I also seem to realize when you keep watching AHQ Esports Club during the group stage, Taos has almost always picked Omen when he is open. So this man right here really loves to go for this pick, but since he got it at first game, he's not going to be able to use it the next couple of games. But of course, he's not the one-trick Omen player here. You can't really be like that in AOV, but he does shine the best with this one. And again, in a best of 7, in a battle of attrition, I think something that's also kind of lost in translation is that setting yourself to win a game 1 can definitely help the minds of the players, especially up against another juggernaut from Vietnam, which is Team Flash. So yeah, having that Domin might help their case, and we'll see.
I mean, it also helps when you pick up a strong hero at the start and you win with that hero. Justifies that pick in a global ban pick scenario here. We do have Ellie playing instead of that Koi, so definitely probably maybe Ellie feeling a little bit better in this matchup, or maybe just that, you know, they have a strategy revolving around Ellie playing against AHQ Esports.
That's true. I mean, actually, I also might have seen Ellie be the better Elsu player. That's why her name Ellie, because, you know, it's like
Elsu, yeah.
Ellie Su. Well, I don't know, but it might kind of pan out really well here. I do love the start of the Elsu pick just because it makes it so that your rotation speed is way faster coming in from the mid lane, just because you can clear out the way with the snipe and then try to go for a for a quick, gank onto the DS lane or the ADC, whichever you want. But it seems like because of that HQ, we're saying that we're going to look for something that's a little bit more defensive in these side lanes. Omen is very difficult to kill. At the start, it's easier, but the longer this progresses, the harder it becomes. But the protection for the bottom lane will be that Teamy.
And we did see Teamy paired up with Murad as the yesterday's series as well. Very strong support in the lane. Being a bro, of course, one of the best skills. Never hurts to have 2 or 3 extra lives
Very true.
on your teammates. So we'll have to wait and see what Team Flash's response is against this Murad as well as the Teamy. Because they do have a very strong lineup for themselves as well, having the Varus as well as the Crixie. A lot of ganking potential. The Xenia, of course, provides so much global presence to the rest of the team. But looking at the bans, it's quite interesting as well. Banning out the Kriknak as well as the Baldoom, not giving AHQ any sort of synergy with the Omen.
Already they locking on the Nacroth.
And once again, Vietnamese favorite here on the Nacroth. Definitely one of their favorite heroes of the entire country, and Team Flash is going to whip out one of their country's pride in the first game of this best of 3 series.
Yeah, super fast hero. You get yourself a lot of diving power here. You're going to be able to 1v1 as well. The power of the Nacroth once you reach into that late game, really scary. I think even scarier than the Murad. We'll just have to see. This is already our first game draft done. Getting into the playoffs, getting into this first game, really a setter for both of these teams. Now, again, my predictions for this entire set, I'm thinking at a 4-1, but like what happened yesterday, I was bamboozled. We went 4-3, and but I'm not gonna back down. I feel like Team Flash here has the better performance, has the better record overall in the group stage, historically as well, from like 2018 and whatnot. From what you said with the Arena of Glory Spring, Arena of Glory Winter, they were phenomenal. Only kind of dropping to BRU as well as one team, rather BRU and I believe IGP. No, sorry, IGP, yeah, and then some other teams. But anyways, this is gonna be AHQ's game to try to win. And if they can, it'll be amazing, especially for the fans who are loving the new roster of AHQ.
AHQ, one of the home ground champions here in Thailand, will be facing up the Vietnamese juggernaut, which is Team Flash. Will they be able to perform in their home ground, or will they stumble against one of the best teams in the region? It is Team Flash facing up against AHQ Esports Club in a fantastic best of 7. Here we go. AHQ playing on towards the blue side, and Team Flash playing on the red.
We'll see the LC will go straight to the mid, get a snipe in, and then that's gonna be rotation. But looking around at that mini map, it seems like they're not gonna. No, they're just waiting for the wave. I mean, they're just kind of scouting all around a little bit. Actually, no. So he might be trying to get maybe an immediate buff here for Ellie, and then go to the lane and then be able to outduel Hayate. I don't know. Maybe that's a strategy.
He's just helping the Nacroth to secure it faster, so the Nacroth can be more aggressive, having the blue buff right away.
I got a little bit confused. The icon of Nacroth is a little bit similar to the Zenial, except for like how they're facing, but like the armor and whatnot. Oh, I like the idea here. He's gonna be able to dash over the wall, but he got spotted straight up by Teamy and the Liliana.
Yep, nothing too big here. Just a little bit some time lost there for ADC. He's gonna be able to get a red buff either way, uncontested. So once again, ooh, NT with fast fingers able to dodge the snipe from Ellie. Small things like that do matter in the long run, especially towards the lane where Hayate actually has no mana cost, but Ellie on the Elsu will have a little bit of a mana usage when he uses his snipe as well.
Yeah, I mean, earlier on, I feel like Ellie should be able to win this easy just because she can snipe out the Elsu, and if she can connect the shots, it's going to be really strong, right? Now, the problem with her now is that she's being pushed back. Oh, didn't get the hit on that River Sprite. They're actually keeping it alive for now, maybe to give it to Rush.
Oh, no, snipes it in the end, so...
He was waiting for it. He wanted to get that, though, but great job for Ellie to kind of deny them.
Once again, small victories do stack up, and especially towards the laning stage. Oh, we have Gao playing quite aggressively in the enemy jungle. XB might be some trouble here. Murad rotating in, but Ellie Crixie is a very tough nut to crack here, especially having the invincibility item in his backpack. Didn't have to use it, but will be able to port all the way back to base.
That was actually pretty intelligent for Gao. What he wanted to do there was that he proxied the wave before it reached the top tier 1 tower of Tao's.
Yep.
And what this would allow him to do is that he clears out his wave, he gets all the XP, you know, before it kind of hits the opposing minion wave, and then that means that he can immediately rotate for a gank. And because Varese is good at clearing out the waves, it works so well because he doesn't have to use a lot of time to actually clear out the wave, which is, again, what is allowing them to pressure this mid lane. Granted, though, that it is Liliana going to be a little bit more difficult, at least the option is there for them to try again if they want to.
Yeah, all these small macro plays across the map really do stack up. And despite that not really netting them so much, they do have to, for the side of AHQ, they do have to be wary, especially when Varese is playing that aggressively across the map. Rush playing his own aggression as well, just trying to exert some dominance and pressure against the Crixie towards the mid.
Here's a saying for you: never let Rush get his Murad. Now this is one of the heroes that AHQ has used to actually get themselves some couple of kills, and he actually gets back bamboozled. XP drowns him with the Crixie there. Nice knock up onto Hack. Will actually be forced to flicker over the CC, but look at that prediction coming out from XB. He found his man. And I was just about to say that Rush is actually a really strong Murad player, but it seems like FL, they were ready for him.
Yeah, very quick and nice kill on towards the Murad. Really slows down the potential of him start to snowball. But top tier 1 tower will be taken down there by AHQ. So some gold flux going towards their way. But the Dragon, though, once they saw that 2 heroes were up towards the top trying to take that tower, they are going straight for the Abyssal Dragon, and it will be Team Flash taking the first Dragon of the game.
Nothing wasted. Something lost, nothing wasted. They're going to be able to get that big objective for themselves. As this game progresses, well, I would say that there's more damage spike for Team Flash here. They have also a nice teamfight presence with the Varese as well as that Zenial going to be in the front line. We just have to see how AHQ will try to go for their first gank, because you haven't really seen them try to go for anything whatsoever in terms of kills here. Maybe just the one onto XP, but that was more of like, you know, Rush harassing with a Temporal Turbulence, not really expecting that, oh, after that, they're actually going to fight me, so c'est la vie. As the French say, that's life.
That is life indeed. But that will be still both teams at just a very close stalemate at the moment, not really able to get anything else other than the first kill. But they are trying. Both teams are really trying hard. We do see ADC just running across the map with his very mobile hero. Rush going in deep, maybe trying to force some rotations or just deal enough damage so that this tower will be free for the taking. It is 4 heroes from AHQ trying to force them out of the lane. We have Pro E will be porting back. NT just being a nuisance here, stopping the port.
As long as Pro E is there, they can never really truly commit onto Ellie, just because, again, the knock-up of the Zenial, the ability of him to get that shield onto his teammate as he activates the ultimate is going to be very crucial in keeping Ellie alive. And HQ, knowing this, kind of wasted a little bit of time on that tower. They might have maybe have broken it, but Ellie, or rather Elsu, has such a great wave clear with the snipe that it seems very unplausible for them to actually try it out. Now, the good thing, at least for HQ, is that they got the top tier 1, but after that, what else can happen? Team Flash has a composition that's really good at defending and team fighting. They have the Crixie for the wave clear, they have the Elsu for the wave clear. They also have those 2 specific heroes for team fights.
Yeah, we do see a small skirmish towards the top. It was Taos facing up against Gao there. We do see a slight difference in terms of item builds there. If you take a look at Omen's item build, he did go for the Mantle of Ra, some more wave clear as well as just the more aggressive build here. Gao deciding to go for the Frost Cape, providing a little bit more CC for the rest of his team. So small differences like that will help out in team fights, but oh, bottom lane, Pro E dropping quite low. If Mura decides to come in for another volley of skills, that might be the Zeno dropping a hack, gets caught out here, he might be some trouble.
They knew that he was going to go over the wall. They follow him to the ends of the earth. Still has another flash to go. About an ADC though. Oh my goodness, this man will not just die at all. Snipe will not connect from Ellie. The chase is on. NT trying to run away as frantically as possible. Ellie's trying to go for a snipe. Oh my goodness, it's so close. Guile actually got decimated there. And now it seems like AHQ are pushing them back. Pro E just dives right in, gets the knockup. Ellie still in the back line throwing out the skills, but they're low in HP, they're low in mana, so they're not going to be able to force this fight much longer. But while that was happening, ADC was just clearing himself a couple of minions onto the top side, but it seems like AHQ are slowly finding a stride, but that was just a team fight that Team Flash did start.
Yeah, ADC is getting to that peak potential very soon. He does have his rank breaker completed, so that's going to be the huge nuking potential coming from Nakaroff once he completes that item. Do we have another short replay? There's just so many close calls that NT would have fallen. Look at the amount of HP he has. Just dancing towards the sides, dodging skills left, right, and center. That is the power of the Hayate with how much of a mobility that very slippery ninja has.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Team Flash has a tendency to overcommit to these team fights, and AHQ are trying to fend them off. If they can keep doing this and Team Flash always tries to go for the pressure in this type of manner, HQ can go for a punish. And what looked like to have been a big gap in terms of the gold overall for HQ, they've sort of bridged it closer somehow, and now are not looking too far behind against their counterpart. Now we do take a little bit of a pause here, but still you're seeing that HQ are adapting on the fly against their opponent.
Yeah, playing very well indeed, getting that bottom tier 1 tower as well thanks to the Balliste, and also forcing out Team Flash from the area, making sure that they get that tiny bit of gold influx going their way as well. Not sure what the pause is about, but hopefully everything will be resolved real soon. Probably just, you know, with all these mobile phones, definitely sometimes things do go wrong. Maybe it's a setting issue, maybe it's an audio issue, nothing too much to worry about.
Very true. These guys, you know, they have better phones than, than probably both of us do. I mean, maybe not Zero, but I have a I would say a mid-range phone. It's all right. It's pretty decent for
good
what
enough.
it is. Yeah, good enough.
We did see a Hayate with a very with a more defensive item build there. He did go for the Frost Cape himself, so he's not really going for that full-on just full-on glass cannon sort of Hayate build. He did go for the Fafnir's Talon as well, providing some extra damage against those tanky heroes from the side of Team Flash.
That's true. I mean, if you're gonna stay in the middle of the fight, especially with your Kunai Blitz, better that you don't get blown up by any of your opponents, which they actually can. And it's very easy for Team Flash to actually catch the Hayate with the Kunai Blitz, just because they have so much disruptors with the Crixie, with the Zenyo.
The Nakaroff especially.
Actually, that's also something. So they have to respect that fact, and yeah. I mean, that's why we're seeing here the Hayate kind of respect just a little bit, but at least this will make it much better that the more this game unfolds, the more at least he's going to be able to survive, and then once he gets his damage items, he's going to be a mix, you know? And at least in the end, if he needs more damage, he can just sell that in the late game.
He can eventually just swap out his Frostcape for more damage, or even his Fafnir's Talon if he reaches that late game scenario, can go for Muramasa and whatnot there. So definitely not really locking him down, more so just securing his early game so that he doesn't just get blown up in every single team fight. And that might have been the difference between him surviving and dying in the last replay that we see there, barely walking away with an inch of his health here.
With that, game 1 seems to be a pretty evened out game, even though we are seeing Team Flash get the better of the macro overall. I did see that team at HQ Esports Club, they're kind of matching the tempo, so to speak. They're not, you know, they're not matching in terms of team fights. They're backing off a lot more. They're respecting. They have a really nice amount of disengage, which is allowing them to kind of survive these fights longer. And the way that they're kind of catching up in this game is that they're just sticking to the lanes. They're not allowing Team Flash to force them out of the jungle, so they're keeping the farm rolling. Rush can keep farming on his Murad. He's not going to fall any time now, so that's going to be very good, especially once he gets more items to have more firepower with that temporal turbulence of him. And T also as well on the Hayate, not really losing his life at all, even though they keep getting bombarded. So that means that he can keep this, keep the farm rolling, and that really will help HQ's defense later on as this game progresses.
Yeah, but the man to watch really will be Rush on that Mura, like you said. Once he reaches his peak timings, that we'll see AHQ ramp up the pressure even more. So far, they have gotten 2 Tier 1 towers for themselves, so they do have that slight map control over the side of Team Flash, but Team Flash has been farming more efficiently, especially on their Narkrov, just spreading out the map quite well. They do have the Zenil, of course, to always be a very menacing split pusher on towards the side lanes as well, who can join the team fights at any single moment. So, in the long run, this will come into play, but right now, things do look quite even across both of these teams.
Yeah. Although, even though we're, kind of neck and neck in some certain cases, one of the things that will work very well into favor of Team Flash is that when we get the destruction on towers and such by Team Flash, because they seem to be the better siegers here, because they have the Grixie and the Elsu, is that's going to open up the map a little bit more, meaning that the Darkslayer lane, if AHQ cannot destroy some that mid-tier 1, that's going to mean that there's much control around the map for Team Flash there, and that's going to be definitely a tipper in the scales of whoever claims the Darkslayer first. And it seems like Team Flash, their investment can actually work in favor of that, and that will help in their case. So the more that this game progresses, the more that it actually is neck and neck. I think the more, or if it's still kind of stable here between the two, and if Team Flash keeps getting these small objectives here and there, it will definitely give a big edge when we're gonna go for those bigger or juicier buffs, such as that Darkslayer.
Looks like both teams still trying to resolve the issues. I got word that it was AHQ having some slight phone reconnection issues, so they are just restarting and reconnecting back to the game. So definitely won't be much of a long wait for the first match, and
hopefully not a restart, because that definitely kind of shakes the the mentality of
the
players.
momentum as well.
That's true. I mean, we never want to see a restart.
No.
We've seen it. I've seen it before, like happen 3 times, and every single one of those times, except for the third one, the better team actually, the supposed winner of the game actually won it, and then the third time they were like, nah, not like this anymore. We're done. We don't want it. Let's not play anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, it does really affect the mentality of the players if that does happen. So hopefully not.
The momentum as well. It gets broken down there. Suddenly you were hard. You had a game plan, but then after these long breaks, you reconnect, and you are thinking, what did we talk about just now? you forgot why you were at that specific part of the map, and that has happened more than I would like to admit. So these kind of long pauses do sometimes affect teams who are less experienced in these matters. So they wouldn't like all these long pauses, but got a word from the admins as well. It's going to be a 5-minute time where they try and solve the issues. So we have a little bit more time to talk about the lineup that we've seen across the both sides.
Yeah, very, very much. So it seems like we haven't really seen HQ really pop out of their shell, or kind of blossom into the beautiful flowers that they are. But you saw it already, because there's a lot more mobility for AHQ's side here. They're able to disengage much faster. Hack with that Liliana really hasn't really started the fights, and I mean, as Liliana, you really want to try to do that, but at least as a counterpart, if you're trying to be more defensive, she does have multiple ways to be able to traverse away from the opponent, and that is why we're seeing Hack always kind of keeping himself alive, which is great. Now Rush, on the other hand, trying to help out his teammate, did get caught by XB at least once or twice rather in this fight. Still not the worst case for them because that hasn't really transitioned into a big enough objective.
Yeah.
But if he does keep getting caught with his Murad, I mean, it just goes to show that Team Flash were prepared for this particular pick, and they they forced HQ to go for that because they banned out the Quick-Knack, they banned out a couple more junglers, and Rush said that, okay, I'm going to get my Murad, but it kind of seems to not work as well right now for them.
Yeah, it's one of the things with the Murad. You really want to get those items really quickly. You want your Omni Arms, you want your Rank Breaker. He's almost, he already completed his Rank Breaker, so that's a bulk of the damage coming up. But he really needs that Omni Arms for just a little bit more survivability.
Yeah.
The lifesteal coming up from it is really great, and he does need that for the extra burst of damage as well. So once he gets that, you will see him really start to melt down the squishy heroes like the Crixie as well as the Elsu is always in a very dangerous position when Amura gets his stacks up and just starts going in, popping his ultimate, deals so much damage in an area as well. So definitely, you know, Rush, like you said, Murad, one of his staple heroes, one of his most picked heroes throughout the group stages. He needs a little bit more time.
Yeah, he needs that time to be able to ramp up a little bit more. But again, HQ, they're also kind of the team that does know how to play from behind. They have done it before. They might be able to do it again here against Team Flash. But the longer that this does go into the late game, I would say it actually goes. I would say it goes in favor of HQ here, just because they have the Hayate, and NT is a pretty intelligent Hayate player. He knows, he kind of goes hand in hand with other players from the other games, wherein he really plays like a Dime, who for IGP, who also does a pretty sick Hayate. These are players that know when to go in and maximize the damage out of Kunai Blitz, and having the composition that they have, they'll be able to use that and maybe even, again, turn the tides in their favor. And we'll just see as we're about to get into the game. It's going to be, thankfully, we're going to just resume it now, HQ. Time is of the essence. They still have to respect that there's a lot of damage output, especially this Nacroth, that once he gets into that late game, he's also as scary as a Hayate.
He has a crazy amount of items right now. Looking at it, Rank Breaker as well as a Soul Reaver already completed, making his way towards his next big item as well. And that's going to be when he starts to become that dangerous hero that you really have to watch out for. Don't want to be instantly nuked down there when you get when you see the Nacroth, because he's just so mobile, so slippery, and it's going to be hard to lock him down. They do have Omen as well as the teamie to try and lock him down, but that might just not be enough crowd control to lock him down.
They found Hack again. That was a little bit scary. He almost got knocked up, but of course he knows how to deal with this one. There's so much dive in and then dip in, dip out for Team Flash here, although you can already see AIC went in a little bit too over aggressive, had to flicker away. Here comes Pro E, comes in with the ultimate, gets sniped once again from Ellie from the backline. But they can't really go for the punish. They're underneath the tower, and this is what I'm talking about. FL still have a good amount of structures around their map. Actually, no, it's actually the other way around. It's HQ. I thought it was the other way around, but seems like that's no. Still, though, you can see how well Team Flash were able to preserve their teammates, and Ellie from the backline just destroying them with the snipes. They have to be forced out, but this just means that do we give a big objective for all of that time wasted, kind of just trading in the mid lane?
It's actually really beautiful to watch both of these teams play. There's just so much mobility on all of their heroes there. We have Rush on the Murad, definitely dashing in and out. Hack, of course, on the Liliana, does have plenty of skills with engage and disengage as well. Not to mention the Hayate, one of the most slipperiest heroes of the entire game, just weaving in and out, just throwing out his kunai blade. So it is definitely a treat to watch here as both of these teams try to find a chink in their opponent's armor. The amount of gold, the economy is pretty much neck and neck right now.
There's going to be a chink in the armor for Team Flash. Gao isn't really above Tao's, and you know that once you reach the late game, Omen is going to be able to outduel the Varese, meaning that there's not going to be much of a 1v1 there, more of like a kind of like a bully massacre that we're going to be seeing come out from Tao's. It's going to help them out a little bit, but he seems to be, going in with his teammate. He's going to be able to absorb quite a bit of damage, but as I say that, look at its HP just demolished by Ellie as well as XP with a little bit of harassment from them. Now ADC is caught rock in a hard place, but he does have that triple dash to be able to escape, get himself alive. And while all of that kerfuffle was happening, Team Flash finally breaks their first tower of the game. Rush is in no man's land. That was not supposed to be what happened there, and immediately the tables have flipped. 2 towers knocked out from the center stage, and it seems like Team Flash are going to be able to escape. No, hold that thought. They spawn out XB here, but KSSA is in the front line, still has his being a bro. Gao comes in from the side. KSSA doesn't activate his ultimate. That's actually dangerous. They will be faltering one after the other, and that's 4 members down for AHQ.
And the backline cutting from the from Gao was just perfect, catching out NT there. He had nowhere to run, and that's going to be the first inner tower going towards the way of Team Flash, and they might just try to end it here, but Rush as well as Taos is already out. They're trying to end it right now, and it will barely be enough. That will just be enough as Team Flash will take, after what seemed to be a stalemate for 10 minutes, take the first game of this best of 7 series.
I want to see the replay of how Rush got caught on that Murad. Rush, he really loves to, I mean, any Murad player would love to get the stacks and then just spam with the temporal turbulence, but I wonder what was going on his head, why he wanted to go in that 1 versus numbers scenario against Team Flash. Maybe he wanted to push them back, maybe he wanted to clear the wave so that they can't get the mid-tier 2, but that small backfire turned out to be a big catastrophe for AHQ here, and now they immediately lost their first game after what seems to have been such, like you said, a stalemate, a back and forth between these 2 teams.
There could have just been, you know, a slight miscalculation of all the crowd control that they had. They had Varus, they had the Crixie there for the slight knock-up, as well as the Zeno as well. So maybe just slight mistakes there causing them the game, and Rush is going to have his hands on his head, just thinking about, you know, how that small mistake caused them the game. But definitely these 2 teams are pros. They know how to recoup from all these just tiny losses, because they do know this is a marathon as well. They cannot let just one game, one mistake throw them off for the rest of the series.
That's true. But something to also point out here is that HQ lost with a really strong roster of heroes. And this means that all of this right now is available for Team Flash to get for themselves. They can get a Murad, a Hayate, an Omen. Those are really strong picks that they can use, spread out this entire rest of the series, and this kind of scares me a little bit. HQ losing with NT on Hayate is really, really big, because he plays exceedingly well with this particular hero. And again, going into game 2, what's going to be the reset? How can they get the 1-up against Team Flash?
And they lost with what arguably is one of their most comfortable lineups as well. You know, Taos on their Omen, the most played hero for him throughout the group stages. Rush on the Murad as well, one of his favorite heroes in the entire AOV universe. So definitely that is going to leave them a bit scared throughout this best of 7 series, because as you know, the global ban pick is going to come into effect as you progress throughout the series. So they're going to find themselves pushed to dig deeper into their book of tricks.
Yeah, their hero pool as well. And here you guys go. Key player of the game. Look at that. Kill participation is 50%. It's the lowest kill participation I've seen. Like, look at that KDA though. 1, 0, and 2. There was no kills throughout this game. It was basically a couple here and there, one big mistake, and everything was already over in the blink of an eye.
And that's the thing with AOV. You cannot... The late game just comes so quickly, and when you make mistakes throughout the late game, when you have no ultimate, you have no revive, you have no way to reset the fights, you might just lose out the game despite leading so much in an early game. So there's no buybacks, there's nothing of that sort in AOV. So every single death does stack up throughout the entire game.
That was some insane reflexes from XB as we were watching the highlights here. Now, the one that I really want to see is that last one. How did Rush get caught? Really nice team fight here as well. You can see the HQ, I don't know if they're playing at the maximum range of Elsu's snipe, but they're keeping themselves so alive. Rush didn't actually get the chance to use his ultimate as he got caught there. And his team fight, they were really expecting for this to win, but look at how they just spaced over this wall. Gao came in at the best possible time. KSSA did not use his being a bro. He might not have expected to die that quickly to Gao though. That's why he didn't set it up, or he was waiting for his better carries to actually try to maybe knock out so that he can activate being a bro for them. But HQ I think didn't expect that quick of a retaliation from Team Flash, and they kind of just like, oh, they crumbled immediately.
Definitely, the power spike just came out too quickly and
Yeah.
just too unexpectedly. We did see Gao with that brilliant positioning catching out NT as well. Usually you don't see the Varus able to stick to the Hayate so closely, but the Hayate was just caught out in just a bad position, which just caused him his death and might have just caused him the game there. But
Yeah.
once again, it's game 1 of a very long series, and they cannot let that loss come and get into their minds.
Yeah, they have to, again, just be able to kind of clear it out from their brains and then look forward to do the best that they can for game number 2. Because Team Flash, when you give them an inch, they will make it into a mile. They will just run at them head on. And I feel like Team Flash is one of those teams that don't really lose steam as much as the other ones. And that's something scary to deal with. But still, AHQ, they did a fantastic job at doing, whatever strategies that they kind of employed during game 1. And if they can do that slightly better to game 2, maybe they have a chance to, force this into a 1-1. We'll see.
Yeah, the macro play was really commendable for both teams. Really just pushing and pulling, knowing when to back off. It's just that slight mistake coming out at the end of the game that cost them the game. If they dragged it out, I think that they really stood a much better chance against Team Flash. But before the item timings that came in, we did see Russia's getting caught out there on his Murad before he got any of those big items. So just a little more patience, a little bit more understanding of the game in those situations, and this will be a much closer series. But Team Flash does take game 1, capitalizing on AHQ's mistake, and does move forward at least in this series so far. 1-0 is the current score. Plenty of AOV left in for everyone, though.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of course, for games for our viewers to watch there. But something that I'm really afraid of, again, is that Team HQ, they'll be slightly lacking in terms of the picks later on.
Yeah.
But of course, they still have the ability to get the Ignis for
Hack.
Yeah, for their mid lane, for Hack. They have Lindis, they'll still the Tilanas, Violet. There's still a lot of picks that they can use for. But I feel like we said it already, HQ's real comfort picks was already the ones that they expanded with the Hayate, with the Omen, as well as that Murad. But the game isn't over till it is done. We will see how they kind of progress with this, and they can even steal the composition of Team Flash. They can use the Elsa, they can use the Crixie to their advantage, and those are some other picks that can really work well. We saw how USG also did that yesterday, where they kind of set the protect the ADC type of comp, and it works so well for them. Maybe HQ can play the same route with that one.
Yeah,
So
one thing about AHQ is that compared to the other teams playing in the 2019 AIC, they do have much less of a hero pool compared to the rest of the teams. If you look at the most played heroes, they really like to stick to the lineup they played in the first game. They really like their Omens, their Murads, their Hayates, as well as the less so on Teamy, but they really like all these core heroes. So they haven't shown as much of a depth throughout the group stages. Maybe they're just keeping everything locked up, not wanting to show out their true potential throughout the group stages. But if we look at in terms of statistics, they do not have as deep as a hero pool compared to Team Flash, because you look at Team Flash, they have so many heroes that they can play in all 5 positions. You have Gao, who can play multiple heroes, the Yena and the Omen, of course, one of the top few picks. He also plays Kilgraph as well. Chi did show up in a couple of the group stages game as well, something that we do not see that often, but definitely a very strong hero on his own right. We do see them play a lot of Zil in the jungle as well, played by ADC. So definitely, in terms of depth, Team Flash does have the upper hand here.
And I mean, that's a scary thought, It means that Team Flash seem to have a better understanding, a better pool that they can utilize when they're going to be drawing this game out even more in the best of 7. But again, we still have to kind of see how this will progress. There's still that point where there's a lot more macro that kind of goes around the game. So Team HQ also have done a fantastic job at kind of keeping themselves afloat in terms of that. They roamed around the map a little bit more. They showed that they can keep themselves good in terms of their gold income and whatnot. So it might work into their favor if they can just kind of again, not really go for the team fights, but they also have to, because I said it before, I'll say it again, Team Flash, coming from Vietnam, Vietnamese are just super aggressive when it comes to AOV, and if you're not able to match that aggression, I mean, in the end game, it seems like that's going to be something that will definitely make you suffer, you know, the longer the game progresses.
Exactly, that is my exact thoughts here, and the AHQ, they really have to look out for all these timings, you know, when Team Flash starts to ramp up the aggression, because that is when you need to be more wary across the map. You have to play more cautiously, knowing when to pick your team fights and sticking together more. Or they just might face the same situation they did in the first game. Hopefully they do see their mistakes there. Their coaches definitely will have a few words with the players. Spotting out those mistakes is something that they need to improve on as throughout the series goes.
Yeah, I mean, come on, think about it, right? They're not playing in home court advantage or anything. They're actually playing right now in the Garena studios in Bangkok. Again, if you guys are living in that particular area of Thailand, you can actually go to the Grand Finals the 24th at Icon Siam. Again, it's whatever you want to call it. But here we go. Here it is. Game number 2's draft has gone underway. HQ. What are their adjustments? What is their plan to get that one up against Team Flash? A much needed one up here. And look at this, Team Flash banning it out already. The Zenyo taken away from the hands of KSSA.
Darcy as well taken out there by Team Flash here, not letting AHQ have that very strong jungle / mid mage. We have Zip banned out as well from the side of AHQ. We haven't seen any Zip games throughout the...
We're never going to see Zip again in
I
the
don't
groups,
think so.
in the playoffs. They can actually, I think they're thinking if they should ban an Omen.
They ban out the Hayate, which leaves Omen or Yena open for Gao.
I think they might just go for Omen.
Oh no, Florentino's left open as well, so they're going to take out the Florentino for Gao. Definitely no slouch in that hero as well. Picked it a few times throughout the group stages. Definitely very familiar with the works of that hero.
Yeah, strong duelist too. And because AHQ did already pick the Omen for Taos, they know that it's going to be either a Yena or someone a little bit weaker than the Yena, which means Florentino is the perfect hero to be able to do that. Early game, he just destroys Yena. So that means that they're really betting on the Yena to be the pick here for AHQ. And because of that, HQ, they have to think something else. Maybe they can go for a Kilgroth, but I don't know if Kilgroth might actually be a worse pick there. But they immediately switch up to the Lindis. They're going to think of something else maybe later and just secure themselves a strong ADC / maybe jungler. Okay, look at the Fennec. Okay, I don't like the idea of a first pick Fennec though. It hasn't worked before with the mid-tier teams here in the group stage, and it might not work now, but they do adjust. They don't want that Yena Florentino matchup because they're afraid of how Gao will perform.
Yeah, one of the ways to play against the Florentino is just having the superior range and mobility against him. But we don't see too many Dark Slayer lane Phoenix, that's for sure. Your Dark Slayer lane, usually you want them to be more of a crowd control hero or something that can really be that one hero that people have such a tough time to deal against. But Fennec might be the jungler, might be the marksman. We do see him played in those two positions as well. So most likely we won't be seeing in the Dark Slayer lane.
Moret is up for Team Flash. They might also want to hover over the Kriknak if they want to get something explosive, but I feel like they'll save the Kriknak for a later game when it's desperately needed to. Though they do pick up the Thane out of the box.
And the Diao Chan as well. So plenty of crowd control right now for the South Team Flash. Decent pews as well on both of these heroes. Diao Chan, after the buff to her second skill, really came up in the meta, having 2 opportunities to lock down the opponents.
Yeah,
it's really strong here. And with enough cooldown reduction, she can actually just spam her first skill non-stop, combo her skills, plenty of damage in team fights as well.
Crixie is open for HQ here. Also, another bad choice if you're going to be going against the Diao Chan. Maybe the Raz a little bit more here, but because there's so many duelists for Team Flash, they really have to find a duelist of their own. And it seems like they actually go back to the idea of the Yena. But it's going to be a tough sell against this Florentino. Maybe they could swap lanes or something and have an ADC go up against Florentino. Like you said, get that range. Might not be the Fennec. This Fennec could actually go for the jungle, and maybe they go for, let's say, a Violet or Teleanas to win against this Florentino. We'll just have to kind of see as this unravels. And it seems like they do or will select this Yena to be picked up for at least that DS lane for now.
They do pick up the Yena and ban out the Lindis for themselves, so still plenty of marksmen left here for Team Flash to pick up. There is still, in terms of marksmen, there is still the Hayate. Oh no, it's banned out there by AHQ. There is still the Morin that they have played quite a few times here, but that was mostly on Dakoi.
Yeah, they got forced though, I think, to use the Morin before. I think that was by BRU, but still, Crixie's already been banned out. They really are kind of forcing HQ to the limit here. They'll also probably ban the Ignis already because it was hovered over before by Team Flash. Mura has been removed from the table, so that was what we were talking about, right? But this might actually open up Team Flash to use a Kriknak now because that's also a scary thought.
Yeah, Kriknak, very great against the Yena, great against the Fennec as well, able to close out the distance. Talanas is still left open here as well if they try and go for that with the Talanas Tain. There's just so much peeling for your marksman. They don't really have a way to close out the distance as well coming from the side of AHQ. They do have the Kha'Zix to try and maybe rush in, but the Tain is always there, being the bouncer for the Talanas.
Yeah, he's the big guy with the shield. He always pushes you back, and we've seen so many times of how strong a Thane can really be, especially with that ultimate. He just bangs down the sword, and if you're low enough in terms of HP, it kills you, man. He's pretty dang scary. Now, L'Oreal was actually removed by Team Flash. That's pretty interesting. I thought it was going to be the Ignis or something, but it seems they kind of are afraid more about the mobility of the L'Oreal compared to the Ignis.
L'Oreal, a very tanky mage through the mids, looks like, but that leaves open the Ignis, like you said earlier on, that the wave clear coming from the Ignis or the Raz, both very strong mages coming out here, and NT is going to lock down the Raz. More rotations definitely possible here for the Raz.
I'm pretty sure why they picked the Raz is because they want to be able to disrupt the ultimate of Diao Chan. So they need to disrupt their mage there, and it was Crixie and L'Oreal who was a real nice counteract to that. Team Flash, they hover over the Rourke. This is looking so scary. Team Flash's roster, they haven't even shown up the Kriknak as of the moment, and Rourke is also a pretty strong ADC there. There's not much in terms of damage output for HQ, but for Team Flash, they already have the Florentino, they already have the Rourke. It's looking pretty mighty fine for Team Flash, as this fourth pick might already be locked in.
Yeah, this their entire lineup is very well rounded here. Plenty of crowd control, plenty of ways to cut through the back line. Of course, having the Diao Chan, the control is just absolutely crazy. The slows, the roots, and they're going to lock down the Hilda as their marksman, it seems.
This is going to be the first time we're going to be seeing a Hilda actually get into the table. What's going to be the final pick here for HQ? What can they bring to this table? They're
lacking a jungler or a marksman. Fennec can play in both positions, of course.
I think it would be better to get a Teleanas right about now. They just get a little bit of crowd control, or maybe the Violet just for that mobility. But it's such a difficult choice to go for, because already the really good ones have been removed. They actually still have the chance to go for the Elsu, which could net them well, but they're hovering over the arrow. So this.
Nope, changing their minds here. Varus maybe putting the Fennec. How are they going to lane this? Are they going to put a Varus jungle?
No, probably the Fennec jungle, and then Varez for the DS, or for the ADC lane.
They are going to lock down on the Varus, so it looks like it will be a jungle Fennec here. It's going to be Rush picking that up, and T will be on the Varez. Very interesting lineup here. Definitely not something we see every day here from the side of AHQ. And even from Flash, they do pick up the Brunhilde. What do you think about the lineup? This is not something that we predicted.
AHQ's lineup is going to be a battle comp. But the bad thing about that is, its spike will probably be only around the mid game. Come late game, I don't think they have enough firepower to beat out Team Flash, especially with that Brunhilde looking mighty fine, you know, as a selected pick for Team Flash here. It's gonna be quite hairy for them to deal with the ability of Brunhilde to just kind of, you know, set down her entrench, which is such a strong teamfight presence ultimate, but it's gonna be for later on. But this is so scary. I mean, it's Brunhilde and Rorik, for goodness sake.
So much damage.
I'm tapping my hand on the table here. This is kind of like, you know, in wrestling, like tap out, tap out. This is such a difficult comp for AHQ to fight up against. They have the Kriziks, they have the Yenna, they have some really nice teamfight, teamfight picks. But at the end of the day, these teamfight picks don't got no damage in the late game, man. Damn.
Yeah, and it's very difficult for them to stick to their targets as well. I mean, you have the Thane, you have the Liao Chan just providing so much peel for this Brunhilde to just sit down and start laying just spraying them with lead. And we'll have to wait and see how AHQ can adapt to this, because looking at the draft, they are definitely at a disadvantage coming into map 2 of this series.
Yeah, but of course, that is only our predictions, that is only our observations. It's still up to these players to set us aside and, you know, make it something for themselves. Look at this format into the mid. Beautiful setup there from Pro E, though. He actually gets pulled back, but that is a Thane. He is a tanky, really strong support there, and that's actually going to force HQ here to maybe lose a little bit of farm around the side of the map. Oh my goodness, ADC is actually getting forced out here. And it did say about that battle comp, it seems HQ really want to set that battle straight up from the get-go.
Yeah, they want to take that early game advantage, giving the Rourke a bad time and also leaving the Fennec to have a much smoother time, knowing that there's no rotations coming towards his jungle. But they really have to keep up with this pressure and get something out of it, or they'll just slowly find themselves losing out in terms of economy. Down, as well as Pro E, spotting out the Fennec in the blue buff, maybe try and get a steal here. Thinking about it, but Rush able to clear out really quickly. The Fennec, a very quick hero to clear out the jungle, and he's already level 4 and 1 minute in.
Here's the thing, I did point out that HQ will lose in terms of damage later on, but the thing about their composition is it's really well made in catching mistaken positions or wrong positions from Team Flash, especially having that Varez and Kriziks to really capitalize on that. If they can use it properly this game, it should allow them to get a better advantage in the earlier stages of this particular game. It seems like they're going to try to force an issue already here as they catch Pro E and ADC right in the middle of the fight. Now they actually just dove right in. It's going to be a trade towels for Pro E, but FL are just kind of faltering one after the other. This is it. This is the team fight presence that we were looking for HQ, and they actually got themselves 3 kills for the price of 1. Beautifully executed, and now this mid-tier 1 is in danger of being knocked out already, especially with that Fennec.
Yeah, the early game aggression that the mid Raz can really bring out is really, really strong. The amount of CC and damage that he brings into the table, and he's not even level 4 yet, and he's just providing so much control and damage for the entire team. And AHQ really, like you said, playing this battle comp really well, knowing that their advantage is towards the early game, is forcing the issue, trying to take all these early fights to get themselves that the early advantage. But can they keep up on this aggression?
Look at how quick AHQ are on that rotation. They really are setting up for, like, when we try to go for a fight, just drop whatever you're doing in lane, and there you go. The thing about that one, though, is they're kind of leaving their lane to not get any XP as well as gold.
Yep.
So this could work not super well in their favor, but because of how they built their composition, it's actually well made as well in clearing out waves, especially Varez and Yenna. Even though they're kind of solo by themselves, because of the wave clear that they have with their skills, it does help out AHQ's more aggressive playstyle as of the moment, and they can use that to their advantage to outmaneuver Team Flash.
Not to mention the really quick tower taking from the Fennec really keeps themselves afloat right now, as you see. They are still leading slightly in terms of gold AHQ, so they really have to capitalize on this slight advantage. They do have the Bow of Slaughter already completed there on the Fennec, so he's gonna have the extra attack speed to just continuously try and create this this pressure. Ellie uses the entrench, tries to push out the tower, but the Raz, she has to watch out for the Raz because the Raz can just kick her out of position with the flicker as well. Pro E in the mid lane taking quite a bit of damage from the Fennec, but will be able to just push himself away from the danger.
Yeah, SSA is he wants to get a pull onto somebody. He wants to get that setup, man, but it's not gonna happen. Now, 4 minutes into the game, this should be the prime time to try to get this dragon, but both teams really respecting the power of each other. Team Flash not really up to their power level over 9,000, so that means that they're not really gonna force the fight. Again, the longer this game progresses, the scarier that work becomes, and Team Flash, they're just waiting. What looked like to have been a really big lead for AHQ has already dwindled to around 500 gold up against Team Flash, and this is all up to Team Flash sticking and keeping themselves afloat with all of the farming that they have done. So HQ, they really need to set more precedence and getting an advantage, break some towers down, and here comes the ballistas. That's going to help out in their case, but we'll just have to see if they can really help out right now. Oh!
Xiao gets caught out, but I will be able to back off just really tanky on this Florentino, trying to defend the best he can on this top tier 1 tower, but looks like he's going to be forced to port away, and once the ballistic come, that's going to be the tower down, most likely towards the side of AHQ. Because they really, like you said, they need to convert all this aggression into towers and objectives. Because if they do not, then Team Flash is just going to slowly outscale the opponent. Having the Rourke, having the Brunhilde, they really scale well towards the late game. While if you look at the heroes on the side of AHQ, they have this Varus as the ADC, as well as having this Raz. They don't do so well towards the late game. They have to make full use of this early game aggression and start taking these objectives.
Speaking of objectives, you saw that KSSA, he popped the ultimate, he really wanted to get a charge in there, but because the only target was Pro E, he's like, it's not worth it, it doesn't even matter. Abyssal Dragon is being started here, but Rush is really respecting this. I think he's gonna be, oh my god, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Pro E.
I mean, I said it already. I'll say it again. You have to really respect Thane. He's got a lot of range. That thing is deceptively strong when you allow him to kind of rip it up at the optimal time. Exactly. Respect it, player, or else.
Yeah, Pro is gonna feel really proud with himself there. Just an ultimate for the Dragon, definitely keeping them neck and neck right now. If you look at in terms of gold, they are pretty much at the same level in terms of farm, just barely spread out there. We do have the Fennec with slightly more gold, but of course, being a Fennec, he does have the early game in the bag. It's what he does with the gold that really matters right now for the side of HQ. They need some towers.
Here's something that's also pretty good about Team Flash's XB. Because it's the Diao-chan, every couple of instances, she'll be able to have a shield that absorbs a single target skill, which will help her keep self alive, which is going to be very vital because Diao-chan really loves to kind of stick in the middle of the fight, especially that ultimate of hers. So that's pretty scary to kind of deal with. Now 4 people have converged for ASQ onto the mid lane. They really want to get this, but because it's a Diao-chan, it's very easy for them to kind of just falter behind. Look at that, he almost got pulled in. He had to flicker away. KSSA, this is the AHQ support that we were primed and waiting. Because he has this this Kha'Zix into his arsenal, he's being a bit more aggressive. He's being more persuasive with how he just commands the front line.
Yeah, but AB's skill usage is just absolutely perfect. Just keeping everyone from HQ in place, not letting them play too aggressively, because once you know that you get locked down by this Diao-chan in a bad spot, that's going to be the entire team fight going towards the way of the opponent. XB has been playing very well. Oh, Ellie might be some trouble here.
Does have a shield, Pro E. Again, he has a dash. He's going to be able to escape having that Valiant charge to his repertoire. Now, Abyssal Dragon, finally no King's Glory to be smacked down by Thane, by Pro E, but still at first one, I think that was such a big turnaround for Team Flash. I don't even think that Rush was expecting it, or maybe he was, but like, I mean, he only had a finite amount of attack, so what can he really do? Yeah,
the range was really quite deceptive as well. Ellie might be in some trouble, gets hooked in and gets killed off there by Antion towards the Varus. Pro E trying to fight back on his own, down to pretty low health here, trying to hold off them getting this tower, gets some nice peel. Oh, the freeze from XB does not root them in place, and looks like they are going to get some towers finally for the side of AHQ.
This is going to help out so well. Gao, though, right in the front. This is the power that we were talking about from the Florentino. He's just really strong right now. He's going to be able to duel out almost anybody. But this is the point where Taos is starting to take his stride as that Yana. So Gao got to be careful. That could have been a really nice kill onto Rush. But Rush, of course, was able to just be, Fennec. He can hop over away from the fight, but knowing that they all actually recall back onto their base, Darkslayer is open for the taking.
Oh,
and this is a big objective to take right now for Team Flash.
Very quick Darkslayer indeed, and that's going to help them out with the Drake push as well as the Slayer buff, going to keep them just slightly ahead in terms of damage. Gonna get the instant replay on towards the kill on Ellie. Huge pickup there, getting the ADC on you from the side.
Not being able to scout that out, Raz, or Hack rather, was a very much well-endowed opportunist here. He's able to kind of spot them out. NT, though, could be in the bad spot, hops over the wall, ADC here onto the side, but that is a Rourke. He's more of an attacker rather than a setter, so he has to be very careful in that scenario. Pro E's going to get spotted out here. They pull him right in. Are they going to be able to really force the fight here? Actually flash the flicker over the wall. ADC into the front line. He's baiting him in to get into the range of the cannon of Ellie, or rather of this Brunhilde. It seems like they're not going to be able to make much happen. Drake, though, in a really tight situation here. It might get knocked out before it even destroys any towers. And AHQ, they're finally getting an advantage here. It seems like their strategy is already working.
And they do really need to capitalize on their early game aggression. They are, of course, getting these very important towers. No more tier 1s left standing here for the side of Team Flash, but they have to ramp it up. They have to keep it up, because once this Brunhilde gets a little bit more damage items, they will not be able to siege up to the high ground, because that is just a superior range coming from Brunhilde. And of course the damage, the AoE damage from that tank is so difficult to deal with.
They do have an ability to be able to kind of, catch this Brunhilde off guard if they would have wanted to. Now Gao in the 2 versus 1. Rush is going to be his target. Main choice of dinner here, if he can actually find his man. Taos, though, oh my goodness, Florentino is just albino. He's just able to kind of just, force him out. This is the power that we're looking at. The late game is already showing its strength. And that was a 2 versus 1. This is why the Fennec isn't as strong for this mid-tier teams. It is not good to use him into the late game. He is just more of a zoner once the late game kind of comes into fruition. And the longer this game progresses, he actually gets outzoned himself because of that Brunhilde.
These fights are Pro E. I get pulled in here. This is a good team fight coming from AHQ. They're going to get 1. They might get 2 as well. AD is going to fall. They're trying to go for more here. Gao caught out. NT towards the front line as well. But that's going to be all that AHQ will get. But 2 kills will try and convert that into a mid-tier 2 tower as well. Can they be able to get this against the Brunhilde? Oh, look at that. Going in. They will get a very quick kill onto his XV, it seems. But XV with a nice ultimate. Oh, no, Hack will fall in the end. Gao.
NT! He actually got knocked out by Brunhilde there with just the regular auto attacks. They do break a couple of towers here and there, but Team Flash were able to break it down. Still, though, Taos not letting up at all, gets the bottom tier 2. That's going to be very effective here for AHQ Esports Club. And it seems like the tables have turned. This game 2 is looking mighty fine for the Pegasus? Pegasi? Pegasus?
Pegasi.
Pegasi.
It's Greek, right? So it should be Pegasi.
That is beautiful, but but still, they are having a really good advantage here. But straight out of the wazoo, as it seems like this Darkslayer is up and running, they forced the situation already. They're baiting AHQ in. They know that if they actually lose this one, they might turn the tables around. Florentino gets the last hit. Galdo has to escape. One more auto attack could be in. Oh my goodness, they have to respect this. They're trying to back away, but they're actually re-engaging the fight. Taos comes in from the back line. Ellie gets destroyed by Hack there. Beautiful initiations here and there. Left, right, and center. Losing Ellie, losing Pro E. That's going to be 3 versus 5. And can they go for the push? That's the thing. There's only the mid-tier 3, and then the Nexus. They have a good chunk of wave here. Can they use it?
Ellie's positioning just got caught out too bad. Varus coming from the back lines, just stopping him from backing off. And that's one of the downsides of a Brunhilde. You can't really just continue kiting. Your main damage source comes from your ultimate with the entrenchment. And if you cannot just set up shop right in the middle of a team fight, that is just way too scary at this point of the game where you have not enough damage and not enough lockdown on your team. Two heroes fall. Is this the opening that AHQ needs to push up? Because they are still pushing against a level 2 Slayer buff for the side of Team Flash, so they might still be able to hold on to for their inner tower.
That's true. Look at this initiation. Oh, that was so beautiful. KSSA is an artist with this Karizik in hand. Ellie, though, able to kind of punish just a little bit, but here it is, the big team fight after Dark Slayer. I don't think Gao was expecting he would have to kind of walk all the way around the Dark Slayer pit. He was thinking maybe he can actually go and, dodge over the wall, but checking as how Pro E was kind of pushing everyone back, he actually pushed all the squishy members, all of the damaged members of AHQ, and in some sort of way saved them from being knocked out there, which did kind of help them out in the end. And like you said, man, Ellie got caught in a really...
He was really greedy when Gao as well as XP was trying to back off from the fight. He actually just pushed forward with Pro E trying to get that last kill on towards, I believe, was Rush.
Yeah.
So on hindsight, that definitely did not pay off because both of them did fall, and that might just leave them an opening to get towards the Nexus for the side of AHQ.
Now we're just kind of waiting, to resume this game after the pause here. Such a scary thing to think that HQ can, push it back, and this is what we're talking about. I honestly thought that HQ's composition might not be able to live long enough, or kind of stay afloat long enough to make themselves what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? Usable in this game too, but it's working because of how they forced the case at the very start of the game. They really kind of just ruffled the feathers of Team Flash, and now they're looking pretty dang strong. They're looking pretty good as we're gonna just wait for the game to resume.
Yeah, the early game aggression really paid off there with the Raz, as well as having that Raz, not the usual marksman or the ADC that you expect. You have someone that can actually just jump towards the front lines and just fight it out in the midst of the entire fight, which is looking to pay off here for AHQ. But once again, it's not over to the Fat Lady sings, and the Fat Lady is the woman in the tank here for the side of Team Flash. But right now she's dead. So that's an opening here for the side of AHQ to get some more objectives. There is no Dark Slayer to be taken, but definitely an inner tower or two will be a huge pickup here for the side of HQ.
That's true. Now, again, these teams, they have gone through hell and high water just to be able to get into this playoffs. It has been a shaky year for AHQ. They have lost some of their previous teammates, again going up to the newly formed Team Olympus, such as J-Jack and Sun, who arguably are a really strong duo, so to speak. Like, Sun has been a phenomenal LSU player during the group stage, and losing again to Olympus as AHQ formed this new team, they have so much to prove in terms of them as the new kids on the block with the roster that AHQ has right now, and being able to win out against Team Flash is a big milestone for them.
Yeah, it does bring me back to days when J-Jack and Rush were on the same team. Those were some really absolutely monstrous plays coming from the South Koreans. Right now, on different teams, Olympus failed to make it towards the quarterfinals. We have, of course, here AHQ Esports in looking to be in a great position to take the second game of this best of 7 series. Once both teams reconnect, seems like it is Team Flash having some technical issues. Hopefully everything can be sorted out just in time.
Yeah, just in time for for us to see what happens at the end of this second game. Now, one of the things that AHQ kind of tend to not really do the best is that they don't know how to play from behind. So if they can keep up this lead, it's definitely going to be a much scenario for them in comparison to like if Team Flash were the ones who are able to get their stride a little bit back, be able to hold off their defenses up against HQ. But the thing is, Team Flash are a team that can actually play from behind. They have a really well thought of composition that can turtle if they can keep the Brunhilde alive. That's something like, you know, with the entrenchment, it will help out their case. So we'll just have to see if they can keep the game rolling. And as we're waiting, we'll see, you know, hashtag AHQ win, hashtag, how do we do it for Flash?
FL.
FL win, yeah,
FL
that sounds
win.
pretty good. And what do you guys think there in the chat? You know, just give us a little bit of love. We'll see if we can check it out for you as we're waiting for this game to resume.
And that's the thing for Team Flash right now. They just need to buy a little bit more time, maybe 2 to 3 more minutes, get a couple of more items, especially on towards the Rourke as well as Brunhilde. Because that's going to be the point where they are going to start dealing the damage in team fights. Because right now, we don't see any aggressive moves coming from Team Flash. They're just really turtling it out, trying to spread out the map, for not really forcing the issue. But AHQ is the ones that keeps knocking on the front doors, keep forcing on these fights, because they know with the Varez, as well as having the early game aggression and the Krizik as well, to just keep closing out these fights. They are the ones forcing the issue. But eventually, you know, that their lineup is going to fall off once you reach the 15-minute stage. So they really need to start taking a couple of those huge objectives across the map.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, man. The KSSA connection for HQ. He has been one of the pillars. I was about to like put a triangle, but one of the pillars for HQ to get that W during the group stages. He has shown to be a very proficient Battle Doom player, and of course using Krizik in his hands, he's not going to waste that opportunity. It's a strong support pick, and you know that he knows the limits of how to use that particular pick. He just flickers in, gets them out with his pull, and then everyone just comes crashing in, and it works so well for what HQ wants to make happen in this particular game. It is a scary thought to actually try to look at it that way, but KSSA is probably my MVP for this game if Game 2 goes into the hands of HQ.
Yeah, his Krizik plays has just been setting the tempo. He's been playing so aggressively as the Kriziks, you know, just opening up the map with his invis, as well as just setting up the fights. You know, his pulls has really been, like you've seen in the last fight before we had the pause, just set things up and just made them lose 2 heroes really quickly. And I definitely agree with you. KSSA has been playing phenomenally, but there's no buts actually. KSSA has just been playing phenomenally, and definitely hats off to him if they manage to close out this series. But we still need to see if Team Flash is able to buy the time for their 2 cores to come online.
That's true. And I mean, that's all we can say for now, you know, because again, we're still waiting for the game to resume. There's just so much more that these players have to fight for. Again, $200,000 on the line for the first place.
Yeah.
I make that in a year. I'm kidding. I don't even have that kind of money, you know.
Yeah.
But it would be very nice to be able to kind of touch that prize pool. Aside from that, they get themselves a big shiny trophy, though the AR one that's been spinning on top of the stadium. I mean, that's not what they're gonna get. They're not gonna get an AR trophy because that's not. We're not cheap. We're gonna give you a real one, a big heavy one. And if they try to lift it up, they're probably gonna need like the full 5 to kind of.
Yeah. That's why it's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work.
That's true. You know what SpongeBob says, right? Teamwork makes the dream work, and Plankton says like, "What's teamwork?" If you watch the movie, the second one, but come on, best movie for SpongeBob was the first one that came out like 2004.
Looks like we resume right away, and that's going to be AHQ really forcing the issue here.
Oh, he's pushing them back. This is the Rourke in action. One more auto attack. That's it. And we go to Game 3. AHQ out of nowhere explode. Oh my god, we're not just over. This is AHQ's time to come out of the spotlight, come into the spotlight rather. We got ourselves a game here.
Got ourselves a series indeed, and once again, Team Flash not able to just drag out the game long enough for the cores to come online. That's one of the downsides of, you know, having all these heroes that really need the farm. HQ just picked up all these early strong fighters with the Raz, with the Varez, and just start knocking on the front doors, and that has proven to be very detrimental to a lineup that really needs the farm, and HQ takes the W in map 2 of this best of 7 series.
It was I would say it was risky of AHQ to do something like this, but in a sense, it's actually riskier if they did it. Because if they went for a composition that also would play for the late game, I think they were afraid that Team Flash knows how to play the late game better than they do. So being able to get the 1-up in terms of that scenario, it helped AHQ solidify themselves in this game too, which I think is brilliant in its own sense that now AHQ are 1-1 against Team Flash. And look at that, the stats do not lie.
KSSA is the MVP of the match. As far as the system does tell, 100% kill participation. There's 0 deaths on his Krizik as well, definitely setting the tempo and allowing AHQ to continue to play aggressively there. Team Flash not able to just capitalize on any of them. They got 2 Dark Slayers, they got 2 Abyssal Dragons, including the one stolen there by Pro E, but their lineup is just a little bit too passive. You have the Thane, you have the Florentino, as well as the Sparling is Hack as key player of the game, but that is a lot of damage dealt in such a short time.
That's true. I love though how Hack was kind of like all around the entire map there. You saw that Brunhilde was a little bit too slow. He was there in the bottom lane. The Diao Chan would try to kind of stop them from pushing in. He was there to kind of deny the Diao Chan's ultimate from being too explosive, and he was there to follow up KSSA at every single nook and cranny turn that you want to see from HQ. He was there to deal damage, and it goes to show 91.7% on that kill participation. What a monster.
Yeah, when you're a hero that really relies on just staying in a single spot, a Raz with a flicker is hell to deal with.
Yeah.
And definitely helped out for AHQ to close out the game and getting themselves a W. And also picking not really meta heroes, like we did only probably the Yena, and as well as Varus, that was probably mostly contested, maybe the Krizik as well. But they did not have to use any of the stronger ADCs or junglers. They used the Fennec as a jungler. They had the Varus as the ADC, so they did not have to use on anything more meta. So they have plenty of heroes left in the pool.
That's true. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick break here because we take a break every 2 games so that these teams can just rest, relax, and kind of understand what happened. Damn, Pro E, you're so disgusted with that King's Glory. Anyways, again, this is the Arena Valor International Championship 2019 quarterfinals between Team Flash and AHQ Esports Club. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Arena of Valor International Championship 2019, presented by Tencent Games, Garena, CJ, E&M, OGN, True Online, and True Icon Hall. My name is Asarai, this is Zero, and we have just seen Game 1 and Game 2 in this Best of 7 series between Team Flash and AHQ Esports Club.
What a fantastic series we saw that AHQ really ramped up the pressure knowing that their opponents are, very late game centric, and they just ramped up the pressure knowing their timings, drafted a very aggressive lineup, no real marksman in your lineup, banking on the Fennec as well as the Raz just to provide that early game aggression, and having that Krizix played by KSSA, who was phenomenal by the way, just started to force the issue, getting all the towers, getting all the kills, and then getting the game as well for map number 2.
And that just gives us a 1-to-1, and I didn't really expect that to happen, but again, I just have my predictions. My prediction was like it's gonna be a 4-to-1. It's not gonna be like an easy game for Team Flash here. But then AHQ says like, Asarai, we're gonna do that meme where Batman slaps Robin and you're Robin, bam, slaps me right in the face, right in my predictions. And it seems like we got ourselves a series here. If they can beat out Team Flash, that's gonna be really shaking up the quarterfinals here. And whoever actually wins this one will be going into semifinals up against a best of 7 with the other Vietnamese juggernaut, IGP Gaming.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of Vietnamese fans are already looking forward to that Vietnamese matchup once again, a rematch of the AOG Winter, but it might not be the case if AHQ Esports Club has anything to say about it, because they are showing that they are proving and showing the world that why they have made it so far in the 2019 AIC. They can match up against the powerhouse that is Team Flash, and they are not giving up yet.
I mean, it goes to show, like, there's still so much more that I feel like HQ can bring to the table here. They were able to win against teams such as Nova and Evos, wherein they were able to do 1-1 and
Liab as well, 2-0.
Actually, yeah, Liab too. So that means that, they're not really pushovers themselves, and they're just kind of showing it right now. I think one of the key players that we've seen really step up for AHQ here have to be KSSA and Hack, being able to punish Team Flash at every corner of the at every turn really does help the case of AHQ keep themselves alive in this best of 7 series. Now going into game number 3, we'll see the adjustments. Darcy and Zip to get removed. Are we also going to be seeing maybe a Cricknack so that ADC can't really utilize that specific hero, the jungle?
No surprises here for the ban so far. Flash does still have an option to pick up the Krizix if they want to, if it's not banned out there by AHQ. Omen is still left in the pool for them to pick up as well. But it will be the Hayate banned out once again by AHQ. So at least we might see Hayate just constantly being banned out there by AHQ, because they themselves have played it, Flash has not, and that gives them the option to constantly ban it. But it leaves the Krizix open for Flash to take up, so they can go for an Omen plus Krizix opening, or something like an Omen plus Baodoom, Omen plus Cricknack, which is all still possible for them if they want to show their cards really early.
I think that's the reason why they're allowing the Krizix to kind of pass through, because at least now that the drafting phase is already over, they did not ban out the Baldoon. So that is something that KSSA has historically used in the past to be able to win games, maybe even single-handedly for AHQ here. And if they do pick the Krizix, I feel like they're going to be forced to also use the Baldoom, but I think that actually works in the favor of AHQ. Now, they're really pushing the limits of this first pick because they want to know, or they want to see what kind of pans out, but Sanyal is going to be the first pick. I don't think that's a smart idea, but yeah, Lindis is going to be the first in the rotation here, and it makes a lot of sense. Very strong as an ADC or even a jungler, and that still does leave the support role open considering what comes out from Team Flash's 2 starter picks right now.
And the Omen and Cricknack classic combination does come out. They pick it up right away. Ooh, things are already looking good for the side of Team Flash. This is a tried and proven combination. You have the Omen, a very strong laner, Cricknack to start ramping up the pressure once he gets his level 4 as well. So things are not looking good for AHQ. I mean, giving them both of these strong powerhouse heroes such earlier on, and it doesn't really show too much out of Team Flash's composition as well, because you can pair the Quicknack with a Liliana. Oh, they already played a Liliana in the first round.
Basically anything they can do to kind of pair it up. The thing about this is that Team Flash, they still haven't shown their support. Granted, I keep saying support right now, but I think that is going to be the key factor in this particular game, because if you think about it, if AHQ actually pick a support right now in this third final pick in the first phase, they are going to be... Team Flash will actually have a way to counter that, and everything that HQ wants to set up is going to be pretty much set and done, but they immediately go for the Roxy. It's going to have them a nice setup of Initiate, the Crixie as well for the Wave Clear, which is going to be incredible to punish the Kriknak here if he tries to go in aggro. Now, Team Flash going to have the hover over the Raz though. I mean, Lane would definitely go for Crixie, but at least in ganks, this is going to supplement the Kriknak even further.
Yeah, this is just such a fast tempo hero here for the side of Team Flash. Having the Kriknak as well as a Raz really pushes things forward, and Lindis has to watch out because he, as a ADC, despite being such a mobile hero in the bushes, Raz can definitely keep up in terms of the speed.
They do remove the Zenial here, or they're just hovering it over.
Yep, still hovering it over, thinking at that time, knowing that AHQ is a support pick will most likely be it. They ban on the Annette. Is that Annette?
Yeah, this is the Annette. There's the Kha'Zix I was looking for already from HQ here. So it's kind of like a back and forth of what we were thinking. The reason why I think like Annette was removed from the table here is Annette is the perfect hero aside from the Baldoom to punish divers. Actually even better than Baldoom because you have that ultimate to kind of just push everyone away. And speaking of it, there it is. I was looking for it
as well. Not going to have any, not giving HQ Esports anything to punish their would-be aggression coming up, because it looks like Team Flash is already planning to play aggressive and they don't want any sort of hero to try and stop them in terms of a counter initiation or any sort of just stopping power.
They remove as well as the teaming. And this means that HQ, they only have a set amount. If they want something, I would assume that they would probably go for the Zenial, which is the smartest decision here. But to counteract that, Team Flash preemptively hover over the Alice. So this is probably going to be like an Elsu Zenial for HQ, and then for Team Flash, they might go for the Teleanis. I would assume to kind of again supplement the Raz Kriknak pickoff.
Yeah, definitely a very strong marksman to pair with such aggressive front-lining heroes. They have the Omen, the Kriknak, as well as the Raz to just play in the front, and Alice just to provide the shields and the movement speed from the back line. So Teleanis definitely an opening for them if they want to go for that angle. Violet is still left in the pool for them to pick up as well. Great against the Lindis, great against the Crixie as well if the Violet ever catches them off guard. HQ.
They're hovering over the Yibneth. Yes, that is how I pronounce it. I asked yeah, my co-caster the other, I thought it was like why Bineth. No, it's Yibneth.
Oh,
okay. Sounds a bit more mystical.
So it will be a Chi pick coming out here for the side of HQ. So will that be a Dragon Slayer Chi? Or would that be a Jungle Chi?
I think it's going to be a Jungle Chi, and then Roxy will be on the DS lane, and then Lindis as the ADC. You have a Yibneth as well. So HQ, they don't expend yet the idea of using other ADCs later on. So they're not kind of mixing everything in between. They're conserving their picks, and it works again to their favor. If they can win this one, they'll have some really strong picks going down deeper into this best of 7. Team Flash still doesn't have their ADC here yet though, so they can probably pick something up. They've already expended the Elsie. You can see it there on the last picks for Team Flash. They've also gone at the Brunhilde and the Yorick, but that means that, or Rourke rather, but that means that Teleanis is still available. You said it already a while ago. Violet is still available here.
Caphany, something they have picked up in the group stages, but haven't really seen them playing that to its fullest. So Caphany is going to be the marksman pick here for the side of Team Flash. Definitely another marksman that we do not see that often, but this might be in the favor of Team Flash because having that mobility as well as the amount of burst damage coming from the Ellie, from Ellie playing the Caphany might be something that they might just round up their lineup.
What's kind of difficult here for a Caphany is that she does tend to kind of get caught
Yep.
pretty easy, but at least you do have that armor breaker of hers to be able to kind of, remove the speed debuffs on her. But I mean, the thing is, HQ don't only have speed debuffs; they have a good chunk of real crowd control in their arsenal, especially with that Yibneth already in the support role for KSSA. I have never seen him bring out the Yibneth before during the group stage, but this is something to be looking forward to. Now going into the to game 3. What do you think? Hashtag FL win, hashtag HQ win compositions. What do you think, Zero? Who do you think has the better lineup?
I always tend to like lineups with plenty of crowd control, and having the Chi, having the Crixie there, as well as the Yipnif in general, just provides so much crowd control. And HQ might be able to just play with their heroes and come out of it just based on the amount of crowd control they have.
And look at this. This is our venue. True Icon Hall.
Looking pretty slick. 27,000 seats. That is a huge haul for our grand finals. Definitely can't wait to see all of the great games that will be happening there. But before that, we're gonna have game number 3 between HQ Esports on the blue side and Team Flash on the red. Who will be taking the lead in this best of 7 series? We will find out very shortly as both teams head towards the lane.
So again, the reason why a lot of these teams you'll just see kind of stay around in the mid lane is because the side lanes don't get their waves yet for another extra 5 seconds after the mid here. So that will at least allow a little bit more of a push and pull between teams. Pro E though has kind of showed himself way up on top lane just because he wants to force out this Roxy for the moment. Roxy is just kind of like a moving tank. She's pretty difficult to kill, or rather she's just, very difficult to kill. But she does win out the duel against Gao because of her flames. But the longer this does kind of progress, the more that the Omen should be able to beat out this Roxy. Not getting to kill her, but at least controlling the wave or the lane ever stronger. But for now, it is going to be the Tao's show in the top lane.
Yeah, one thing about the lineup of Team Flash is that they are slightly lacking in terms of wave clear. They don't have easy ways to push out the lane. Most of their heroes are pretty single target except for the Omen. So once they start to ramp up the pressure, speaking of pressure, Taos might be some trouble here.
Shouldn't be in trouble at all because, again, look at how much Roxy can just absorb the damage. She comes out from out of nowhere and punishes ADC here. They really want to force the situation with this Krignak who already immediately used level 4. But at the end of the day, there's so much tank members or tank heroes in the arsenal of HQ that they won't really falter that behind, especially Rush there being the Chi. It's going to be difficult.
And definitely, as we have an instant replay there, Taos just tanking so much damage, but that just sets up so much opportunities for the side of AHQ to start rotating in. That was a 5-man effort, but they did make it pay off. Getting a kill on towards the Krignak is just so important earlier on.
I'm not sure how this Skafeni will actually make herself work. The longer she stays in the fights, the better it is because she does use that Gatling gun to... Well, obviously, it's it's kind of like a continuous firing weapon. So the more she stays in the fight, the better that it becomes. Still, though, it's gonna be a very difficult task to do so because there's a lot of crowd control that is in the arsenal of HQ, especially once you get tethered by Roxy's ultimate. You're probably gonna get blown up. But now, it is gonna be, of course, name of the game, Dragon already, almost hitting that 3-minute mark. This is actually really fast for AHQ, and they don't lose anything after that, so that actually is a really good play for them.
Yeah, the rotation's coming really quickly. 4 heroes on towards the Dragon, securing it. Enough trying to clear out the wave. Oh, Pro E might be some trouble here, but forces out the ultimate coming from Hack. Not just barely enough to be able to lock him down, and Pro E able to port away with an inch of her health, but she's going to be fine.
I mean, at least for now, Pro E, he's not going to be using a tank hero, so he has to be extra careful not to get blown up into the face of it. Rush just goes in. Ellie actually just charges right into the face of it. KSSA could have gone for a punish, but this is a 4-man rotation from FL. They just come out of nowhere and it says, no, we're not going to allow you to dive our ADC. We're not that foolish enough. We're not going to let you do what you did for Game 2. This isn't Game 2. This is Game 3 here, and this is a quick rotation for FL. This is the power of the comp that they have.
but they do force Ellie to use up most of her regen and has to port all the way back to base, and that's going to slow her down even ever so slightly. KSSA being such a pest on the Zimnef, scouting out all the rotations coming from Team Flash, and that seems to be the winning factor so far from the start of HQ, is that they rotate faster and they have every information on where the rotations of Team Flash's members are coming in from.
Rush has been just adamant at keeping himself in the jungle, and I think he wants to counter jungle ADC as quickly as possible, just so that he can remove the amount of camps that ADC can really get for himself. Rush here is going to be able to get this Might Golem, and I don't think ADC can actually steal that. Beautifully executed. Now he has a double buff. Gao could be in a bit of a trouble here, but does get away. But this is the power of that Chi out-dueling, or rather out-jungling ADC in his own territory.
Yes, Aseo pops the ultimate, not really connecting on that, but does force Team Flash to back off. But right before the Dragon, using the ultimate there might be an opening that Team Flash is looking out for, as the Abyssal Dragon already down to 2/3 of the health. ADC is there to pick it up as well, so they should be able to get the second Dragon for themselves without any contest. But will they get out alive is something else, because they are trying to cut from behind, cut off the retreat from Ellie as well as Pro E.
Yeah, the escape route, so to speak. KSSA is here. Are they going to be able to break this bottom tier 3? Pro E is actually onto the side, activates his ultimate there, but there's a big punish from ADC, just drops right in, and they're still in the middle of the fight here. XB comes out of nowhere. KSSA is down and out, but the damage on the tower is substantial. Still, they didn't knock it out, so Team Flash does not get the better of that, but the fight still ensues. It's going to be rushing to the front line. I don't think he can actually escape this one, and he got blown up by ADC. The fight still ensues. Hack just throws out the ultimate. There's a stun coming out from Pro E. Cannot follow it up, but look at ADC. He throws it. One more auto attack. Keeps himself alive with that Reaper's Blessing. And it seems like FL, they know what they're doing. They're not going to keep the ball rolling for much longer. Take it away from AHQ and play it with yourselves. Taos, though.
Taos almost dying there, but Roxy just way too tanky, even for 2 heroes to deal with. And they have to back off here. Ellie will have to port away as well, it seems. And that just leaves the bottom tier 1 tower open for the taking. KSSA still being such a menacing pest in the enemy jungle, just showing up everywhere. But still, those quick kills for Team Flash might have just saved them the entire tempo of the early game, as they managed to just stem the bleeding and get themselves ahead in terms of economy.
Very true. No towers have been knocked out yet, but as you can see, bottom tier 1 already for Team Flash is almost ready to get knocked out. Knowing this, AHQ clear out their waves very quickly, and they just say, like, let's just roam around in this area. Let's just see what we can do here, and maybe we can get ourselves a big objective. And speaking of big objectives, 15 seconds onto the clock, that dragon's about to spawn.
Ellie as well as Poe already setting up here. The Lindis does not have enough health. MT does have the Blitzblade though, so plenty of damage coming up from her top lane. Taos might be some trouble here. Gao getting pushed back. Rush pushing forward. Gao might be some trouble trying to flicker across the ledge, and he does it just in time to survive. ADC was there to back him up or even punish if they dive in too deep. Alice ultimate has been used. KSSA trying to defend on the tower, using the ultimate to force them back for the moment, but that should be the dragon going towards the way of Team Flash, as everyone is getting the hell out of the bottom lane.
Yeah, that Seething Barrage from KSA here should be able to kind of, keep his tower alive. But who's going to break? Oh, his house. He should be able to break it. Bam.
Leaving for the Bestale to get it out. Oh, MT! ADC. So much damage coming from this Knight, catching out the ADC, bringing him down. KSSA pays with life as well, as Team Flash continues with the pressure. Looks like Hack might be some trouble. Will have to be forced to flicker away. And he uses stasis as well.
Ellie is so low though, but they're really diving in onto Rush. They know that Rush can't really go right into the face of Ellie, so they back off, and this is a bottom tier 2 already knocked out from FL, and that was only because ADC is the Cricknack. I mean, he made NT has the meaning of the word nice try. Not like, it means nice try, but you can't really escape me. And after all of that, look at the transitions. 4 towers in just a quick fell swoop. And now Team Flash have a big advantage over HQ.
Gao did use his ultimate to try and just stop the Roxy from defending the tower, and that just worked out for the favor of Team Flash as they get all the outer towers, and even the bottom tier 2 tower, Ellie, continuing to farm up. She is slowly but surely reaching her critical mass here. The Lindis is still quite far behind there. Only the Blitzblade and Rank Breaker completed.
Hovering over the Dragon for the moment. There's not really anything that AHQ can go around the map. There's no big waves that they can clear out just yet. The Dragon is again up for Team Flash here. They can pick it up if they want to. They can use it to their advantage. It's 9 minutes into the game, so after that Dragon, they can set their sights onto the Darkslayer and get an even bigger shutdown or an even bigger objective in this game as they're looking to quickly finish this off.
Ellie is already starting to reach that critical mass. Clave Sancti as well as Slick Sting already completed, and the damage coming out. KSSA barely surviving. ADC trying to escape with an inch of himself, and he will be able to. The knockout onto his towers might just be enough. No, he managed to escape just in time. The Lin is way too speedy, continue to run away. Juke and Jives. Gao trying to keep forward, but NT still has ADCs across the corner. He blows him up right away. ADC.
Oh, towers! Almost got caught there. A little bit of skip the beat from that heartbeat, you know what I'm saying? That was scary. Now that Darkslayer is going to be up and open for Team FL, but you can already see the power of this Kafeni already show its stride because they can't really reach her. Ultimate activated, Fusillade was able to just mow down anybody who tried to come in. And HQ forced through the ultimate, and they paid a really dangerous price to try to break down the members of Team Flash. When you see the Kafeni use that ult of hers, just back away. It's not really worth it at all. And, I mean, that's not what you want to happen. Now, top tier 2 is already getting slowed up. Mid tier 2 is already up and about here. Ellie's activating the Kafeni ultimate to push them out so that they can keep these siege minions alive for the moment. They do back away, but this is 4 members of HQ trying to frantically defend the top tier 2. Has to use the ultimate of Hack there to just push them back, and that is not good because ADC now has even more chances to blow people up.
Yeah, Kafeni is dealing too much damage right now. Already has the Abo Slaughter keeping her alive with the additional lifesteal. Taos taking a lot of damage. KSSA will he get blown up, has to be forced to flicker away. Gao pulls back Taos, but this might be a bad fight here for the side of AHQ.
He's able to absorb so much damage already. Gao guts into the side, but there's so much heal. There's so much tanking ability for this, well, Omen to keep himself afloat. Now with that mid tier 2 already broken down, it gives Team Flash here a bigger ability to be able to just go at this Darkslayer uncontested. And while that was happening, XP, he takes top tier 2. This is objective after objective after objective falling into the hands of Team Flash, netting themselves about a 7,000 gold lead.
This Linda's first pick does not seem to be working out as she's just falling way too behind, not able to deal any real damage. Only the rank breaker completed. Taos still fighting up against Gao. ADC is right across the corner, but this Omen is just way too tanky.
He's able to actually run away. That is amazing. Gao just absorbed like 4 different damage sources from HQ Esports Club. And now because they do have the Dragon in their arsenal, they can use that to their favor. FL even get themselves a Dragon as well. So that's even more terrible here. I think they're going to push the Drake onto bottom and then just kind of push mid.
Yep, they do have the Muramasa just completed there by Kafeni. An additional power spike here for her because she's just going to start melting this Yidnev as well as Roxy. The amount of armor reduction is just way too much on this Kafeni right now.
Speaking of melting, you just see ADC there. He just popped his ultimate and put KSSA up to like 50%. Gao's going to be spotted out here.
But does he really care?
Does he really care? Exactly. They're going to take so much time to try to break him that Cricknack would have been already there. While that was happening, look at this. Split push in all 3 different lanes. What a tactic from Team Flash. Taos has to back off as Ellie activates the ultimate. Look at how so much damage is happening here. They have to actually go to him, but Ellie knocks out Taos here, making this into a 4 versus 5. 37 seconds before this Roxy comes back. Top tier 3 is already destroyed. They're looking at the mid. They're looking at the bottom. Ellie's actually there. He's going to be able to destroy it. Ooh. Look at the damage. They don't even need to look twice at this hack here, at this Crixie. She's already down and out. And as they take down Ellie, the Nexus was already open. The Drake was already there. And GG's WP. That's game 3 for Team Flash.
Knack, the Omen, everything fell into place for the side of Team Flash, and they just took over the game from start to finish. The Caffeine was undealt with. The Knack had an absolutely free game after the first death, and Team Flash takes game number 3 very convincingly, but they did have to bring out the big guns. The Omen and the Knack is out of the picture right now.
I think that's not even the biggest guns that they have. I'm scared to see what happens once we get deeper into this game, but definitely, yeah, Omen was such a big factor. I think the biggest of, though, was definitely ADC's Knack. It's incredibly, well, I don't want to say Knack is broken, but like how ADC plays it makes it look like it's broken. Like every single turn where AHQ were trying to position, Knack's right there. If they misplace just a little bit, because he's already reached his assassinating power spike, he gets to blow everybody up easy, except for maybe Tao's and KSSA, but that does not matter. If it's Hack or NT, it's good enough for me.
Yeah, Hack and NT just absolutely get blown up there by the hunting beetle and ADC. I don't know. The post-match scoreboard does show Ellie as the MVP just based on the amount of raw damage she dealt. If you look at the damage difference, ADC did not do as much damage, not even close. But the amount of tempo that ADC as well as XB did bring with the Raz as well as the Knack definitely set the tempo of the game. And for me, that was why Team Flash took game number 3 with such ease.
They basically did the same play,
AHQ
right?
did.
AHQ did in the previous game. So it's kind of like high speed tempo plays that give you as many advantages as possible, and it seems like it worked so well to them. And here is the player of the game. Look at that pompadour hairstyle. I love Gao's hairstyle. It's kind of like mine, but since my hair is a little bit frizzy and curly, it's not as smooth.
Yeah.
Ouch. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Is if you guys have like non-curly straight hair, okay, but yeah, his Omen was phenomenal. Even though it's like only 20% kill participation, the damage taken is really where it's at, 36.6%. That is a huge marker to think about it.
And he also just caused so much havoc and just made so much heroes focus onto him. His Omen was nigh unkillable, and even when they spent 4 heroes, he just was able to back out without any issues there.
Look at that timing from ADC. They were able to chase. NT, he tried to just kind of, you know, juke out a little bit, but the range from Pro E's Alice is ridiculous. He just got caught in that circle. And this is what I'm talking about. If they can't really stop Ellie's ultimate from coming in, why do they have to force a team fight there? They can just back off and, you know, accept their losses. They lost one, that's fine. But if they lost even more, that's not fine at all.
Yeah, look at Pro E just melting onto his tiles. You know how tanky the Roxy is, just not enough for this farm like a penny. And this was pretty much the end of the game there, pushing on towards 2 lanes. You see Ellie just playing forward, just flickering forward, just fighting, creating the havoc, and then ADC and Gao just ended the game right there. There
was just so many angles of attack that, well, they really weren't able to kind of balance it all out, and now that's gonna be 2-1. It doesn't feel like we're only at game 3. It feels like we're already at like game 6 or game 7 here because of how incredibly, I think, intense the matches really have kind of turned out here, and I'm just loving it, man. This is another great quarterfinals match that we're watching right now.
Especially the hero picks as well. You have all these heroes that you expect coming out later on towards the series, but they already picked up here. Chi, you have the Caffeine, Alice even kept coming out as a support. You expect this later on during the global ban pick phase, but game number 3, they're already showing up all these less picked heroes, and they have been making it work. Both Team Flash and AHQ definitely thinking a little bit out of the box, trying to throw both of their opponents off, and it's been working twice for AHQ as well as Team Flash, just playing aggressively, not playing the late game that we have been used to seeing in this current meta, and just forcing the issue. Both games has been really quick. And it just shows that, you know, you don't have to play the meta, you just have to play your best. And countering the opponents has been just so crucial in this series so far.
Now, and speaking of, like, you know, being able to play your best, what is going to be the next type of win condition for the teams that or for the rosters that they create? It's going to be a little bit cheeky here what Team Flash and HQ will bring to the table, because now we're sort of going up to the point where we're dwindling in the picks. It's gonna, and since this isn't really like stomps here and there, they're gonna be forced to really think outside, like you said, off the box. And Team Flash will be the first ones to get a pick. Krizix hasn't been used by Pro E, I believe. Wait,
not yet.
No, actually, I think he has.
Team Flash has not picked up the Krizix yet.
Oh, so it's only been HQ.
Yeah, only for HQ. So there's not really much fast tempo heroes left in the pool. I mean, the Raz has been used on both sides. The Kriknak as well, both sides have used up the Raz. So I expect from after the third game, things are going to be slowing down a bit. The Hayate once again banned out there by HQ Esports. But that still leaves the Talanas as a possibility for Team Flash to go for if they want to secure the late game. They still have the Kilgroth yet to be picked by both sides. Team Flash does play in 2 positions. HQ does play it more on towards the Dragon Slayer lane, so we might be seeing that picked up there. Yena being hovered over by Gao.
They were hovering over the Lindis, which is this one. They immediately pick it up. So the Hayate ban was a thing here for HQ because the Zenial was removed from the table, and that's probably one of the biggest counteracts to the Hayate, because you can just dive right into the face, and then Zenial's Hayate's like, already null and void from his Kunai Blitz.
Yep.
So what's the first 2 picks HQ can't pick up for themselves?
They picked up the Omen previously, I believe, in the first game.
They can maybe even get a Roxy this time for themselves, for Taos. Oh no, sorry, they already used that the previous game. What am I thinking?
So in terms of Dragon lanes, they still have the Florentino, which is still open left for them if they want to go for that route. They still have the Kilgroth. They used out the Varese already, so that's not an option for them.
Something I'm actually wondering what we haven't really seen today is probably, or in this tournament, probably is the Zuka. Something really strong as well. And, well, we're not going to have a Zuka this game, but it's finally time for Kilgroth to shine.
Kilgroth as well as Kriknak, so a little bit of a counter tempo for each other. Kilgroth likes to just stay in the lane, get his items. Kriknak likes to force the issue, push the aggression here. So they do have options to play both right now for the side of HQ Esports.
Red team's turn to pick.
They get the Liliana. They need something fast to just kind of roam around the map here, and being able to shut this Kilgroth at the very start will be nigh important for Team Flash, because the longer this game progresses, the more this Kilgroth power impresses. It's going to be very, scary to kind of deal with him. And you do see, I believe that was the lock-in for on the Flash. So we're going to be seeing the Flash finally come out in the playoffs. I love it.
This is the first Flash game in the playoff. Of course, it will be played by Hak, who has played a couple of Flash games as well throughout the group stages. Definitely no slouch in that hero, and a very strong mid lane mage as well for the side of HQ Esports.
I think it works well with assassin picks, because like Flash is able to zip and zap into the fights really well. We've seen it been used more so with the Moran, just because you can both do
the same thing.
Yeah, basically the same thing, damage without getting damaged yourself. So it works well. But with a Kriknak, I think it could also be pretty effective. And Rush actually gets himself the Kriknak. I can't remember how he performs on this particular hero, but again, he's so known for his Murad, very quick type of reactions needed for that, and Kriknak definitely at the same spectrum of being able to react quickly to be able to burst down your target. So it's going to be important for Kriknak, or rather Rush, to make this Kriknak explode in this game.
Yeah, and both of these heroes are great against the Lindis as well. Kriknak can always get into the face despite Lindis' best effort to try and juke and jive. Flash, of course, with the amount of reach that he has with his burst damage on this mage, definitely will cause some troubles for Ellie to play on this Lindis. But they might just put this Lindis towards the jungle and pick up yet another different ADC or marksman.
Maybe they can go for that. They respect that Elsu is actually still not picked up, but look at how Team Flash, they're like, yeah, there's not a lot of ADCs that you can pick anymore. They can maybe just force the AHQ to go for an Elsu, because they have basically everything that they need to counter out an Elsu here. Liliana and Yena really good, just going straight to the face of a mobile hero such as Elsu, and then just kind of blowing it up easy.
Yeah, and having the Lindis to provide the vision, of course, is great against the Aosu. So banning out the Valheim as well as the Talanas, nothing. They do not want anyone to outrange the Lindis except the Aosu because they have the answers for the Aosu.
Maybe AHQ doesn't even have to go for the Elsa. They can go for yours. Talking about it a while ago, we haven't really seen it here, but the Murin. But here it is, AHQ's
Baldum.
Yeah, Baldum. KSSA's Baldum.
Oh,
scary to deal with.
Sephira support, one of a staple for Team Flash as well. They picked it up a couple of times throughout the group stages. Oh, Marja, another ADC that we do see Dakoi as well as Ellie play out quite a bit as well.
Again, Marja isn't really your typical ADC. She doesn't auto attack as fast as the other ones, but she's very strong in the sense that a lot of disables really flow out of her. And the thing that kind of works with that is that Flash and Kriknak, after their initial setups and some things, does get heavily punished by disables, and Marja will be able to kind of force them out. So this is more of Team Flash's comp that outlasts their opponent. It's like the survivor comp for Team Flash. From AHQ, on the other hand, it's more kind of like a mix of assassination with late game power because of this kill graph. Now the question is, who's going to be the ADC for AHQ? I don't think it's going to be the Elso anymore.
You're going to stick to it. There's just so much ways to get into the face of the Elsu. And they do have the Lindis as well to just provide the vision over him. So this might come back and bite them if they stick to it. But of course, like you said, there's not too many 80 marksmen left. Looks like they are going to stick to this Elsu.
Might as well just weather the storm for now. Although, I mean, Elsa isn't the... Well, it's not the worst pick. It's not the strongest pick. The thing that will allow the Elsa to kind of, how do you say this, perform exponentially well in this one is that, of course, he still has good enough range, which very much lacks with a Marja and a Sephira. But speaking of which, this Marja is going to go to the DS lane, while Ellie will be playing the Yenna, which works very well because Yenna does go straight up in the face of Elsu. Great matchup in the ADC lane for Team Flash. This could be bad for AHQ.
Definitely. They might not have enough peel as well. I mean, you do have the Baldum to provide some backup cover, but it might not just be enough here. You have a mid Flash who does not protect his teammates that well. He likes to just go in and deal damage back off, and that is exactly what Elsu wants to do as well. Just stay in the back lines, do the damage, and then run when the opponents come out close enough. So if Team Flash is able to just constantly be in their face, close out the distance, and they might just be able to, with the Sephira providing the heals, as well as the Marja and the Yenna just being able to get in the faces and tank up all the damage, this might go bad here for the side of Team AHQ.
It all goes down to how quick they can really start the pickoffs. If this Kriknak starts to get some steam, it should work well for Team Flash here. Now, going into game number 4, Team Flash are already up a point, so that means that if they win this one, they only need one more to close out this series, and it's all over, playa. But speaking of over, it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And well, she's not singing just yet.
Not yet, and we'll find out who will be who will Flash be closing it out here after this series with a 3-1 score. Or will AHQ once again bring this series to a tie? This is game 4. Team Flash on the blue side and AHQ on the red.
Nega Flash here for HQ. I think that's what you call it, because it's the negative, Flash.
Yeah. The blue one.
The blue one.
I like the blue skin. It really looks amazing on him.
I don't know if that's really a thing, because the opposite of Flash is Reverse Flash, but there's so many opposite Flashes in the story, so it always just baffles me.
The universe is really there's just so many timelines of the Flash.
That's true. I mean, comic book heroes in general has just so many timelines. Like you have, at least for fine, I'm gonna say it, Marvel, right? You have yourself Spider-Man, then you have yourself the Spectacular Spider-Man, then you have yourself the Amazing Spider-Man. It kind of goes the same way with DC Comics, but they don't kind of just name it that way. But still, right? It's confusing as hell.
It is. Multiple timelines, and if they retcon some of the...
Issue 95, you have yourself the Issue 1 Gen Z. I don't even know how to keep track anymore. How do these aficionados of comic books actually make it work But speaking of which, Gao is actually put into the bottom lane. Or I'm not sure how this actually pans out, but
The Marja has plenty of sustain, even against all this harass. He can just constantly heal up, just based on how the hero works. So that might be their train of thought, wanting Ellie to go up against the Killgraph. But it's a tough lane either way. Whether it's a Marja, probably a Marja will do better with the Killgraph. The Yena can't really go head to head against him.
You're gonna charge right here. This is the 3 versus 3 straight off the bat. Look at that collapse onto ADC, and he just got popped like a balloon in my birthday party, man. What was that? That was so quick!
Oh, NT!
What? I can't even shout right now because I don't know. I don't wanna startle the audience already. But this is the
Okay, that warrants a shout. Two
my
quick snipes
God.
there for NT. What a marksman on this Elsu. We were questioning the Elsu pick. He says to us now, what now, ladies and gentlemen? What's wrong with my Elsu, huh?
I guess we just have. There's nothing wrong with NT's Elsu. It is definitely a disgusting pick to look out for. Look at that. First pick. All right, let's see. He said, "Do it again. I dare you. Do it again." And
Did you miss that?
Boom!
Yeah, here am I again. 2 quick kills. Even forces out the heal coming out from XB, and what a fantastic start here for AHQ Esports.
This is how you do prediction shots with the Elsu. You find the best possible angle with your snipe, and it works out fantastically well for you. Taos is right here. Ellie will be able to push him out, and I think she actually stole the cap there. Beautifully executed there for by Ellie.
Barely able to NT, rotating towards the mid lane. He's gonna try and land some of his 360 no-scope skill shots once again. Looks like he's gonna back off. Oh, damage, a lot of damage done towards Pro E. Forced to pop up the heal as well.
Dip and dive from the fight. And starting off this game, that is 2 kills out of nowhere for AHQ. And the beautiful thing about that for the red side team, which is AHQ, is that they actually wasted a lot of time of Team Flash to try to get a lot of objectives here, or rather gold from the lanes, which is really hurting Team Flash's economy as of the moment, from 7.5 to 8.9. That is AHQ Esports Club. They still have to fight tooth and nail to kind of bring themselves back up, and this is not what you want to happen at the very start, especially when Kilgroth, when Elsu really needs farm to accelerate, and now they actually are accelerating.
Yeah, this late game, mid game composition from AHQ is starting off to a great start here. Bash really needs to start ramping up the pressure before this Elsu and Kilgraph gets out of control, because looks to be a great start so far. Gao as well as Ellie doesn't seem to be able to do anything for the moment, but watch Taos and Taos as well as NT just reach their next items really quickly.
They're kind of just roaming around the map here, obviously for now. Rush will be clearing out his jungle first and then pointing towards somewhere else. We haven't really seen much from Team Flash here. They don't really have the most explosive of team compositions, and it's just more because they don't really have the best fight comp at the very start. They do have a Yana, yes, but when you think about it, there's so much more that can be done by HQ Esports Club, and it seems like they're going to be doing it once again. Ellie has so many dashes back. Taos, though, he activated his movement speed. One more auto attack could have been it for Ellie, and still she will survive the dive in onto ADC, though. This is hella scary, and that should be a dead ADC, but no buts whatsoever. I thought that the Reaper's Blessing was enough, but there is the charge from the insects just coming out of Rush and just denying the escapability of this ADC. And it seems like this is AHQ's time, showing their fangs a little bit, trying to break their first tower as well here in the mid lane.
Yeah, plenty of damage done. 2 huge kills on towards ADC as well as XB, able to chase them all the way towards the tier 3s and netting the kills. Has been setting the tempo for the side of AHQ Esports Club, as they are just rendering the heroes of Team Flash useless, despite, you know, all the amount of base rushing that they can have. They are not doing it yet because they are just too far behind in terms of items, and this Elsu is just doing his work right now.
Stealing camps left and right, clearing out waves. Basically everything that you want from the Elsu is being done by NT. Now, the win condition that we were talking about is for AHQ to never let up, and it seems like they're not letting go at all. Gao is in a really tight situation here. has to abandon her own bottom tier 1 because it's way too weak right now. And that means that Team Flash have opened up already the bottom side. They can rotate to the mid and use the range of the Elsu even more to press their advantage.
And the rank breaker already completed. Baudum ultimate
Oh, no.
connects on towards the Pharah. This might be some trouble for Pro E trying to back off, but the Flash ultimate, it will be enough. Pro E barely surviving. Oh, but they punish it. ADC does fall. Elsu still trying to connect the shots. Pro E, will he be able to back away? Yes, he will. But it will be a 1-for-1 trade as KSSA does fall in the end.
How did ADC actually fall there? I didn't understand what happened. I thought it was more of like Pro E was able to survive, and then something that was supposed to be like the 1+ kill for AHQ, or rather 1+ kill for Team Flash. Still, of course, who am I to question it anymore? It's working fantastically well for this team here, and now they get themselves the second dragon of the game. They got a tower, and look at how much gold they've already racked up. 7 minutes, 30 seconds of this game. It's already a 3,000 gold lead against Team Flash.
This kill graph is starting to get scary, starting to become unkillable here. Team Flash has to get something done on the board right now before they just have no tools to deal with that scary kill graph who is just constantly farming up. And 3 heroes from AHQ wants to force the pressure towards the mid lane. Kill graph as well as the Krignac trying to go for Ellie, but this time Ellie's not on a squishy marksman. He's on the Yena, but still not able to stop this top tier 1 tower from falling, and that's going to be another objective being taken out there by Team Flash.
Had to abandon it, but now it seems like Flash are actually forced to try to find initiate here. They're trying their bestest, their hardest to actually force their wills onto AHQ because they saw there was like 2 members there. But it's not going to happen. There's going to be another kill by NT. This madman is such a great sniper. He's able to knock down 2 already, Pro E and ADC, and he's not stopping at all. He's looking to find maybe XP right there onto the side, maybe to actually knock him out a second time. He's going to be able to connect it. Boom. Oh,
just cancel it at the last moment.
Maybe he was afraid that he would get gotten stunned. But still, it's so scary how HQ are able to do this in the highlights.
This was ADC being destroyed there by KSSA after being caught up there by the Baodoon. And after that, it was just people backing off. How did KSSA die there?
Auto attack and then probably the snipe. I think it was the auto attack was still traveling and the snipe just pops him, I think.
Perhaps. Way too much damage there for Team Flash to deal with, and they are now down 1-8 in terms of kills. Still, they do have the mid towers, still pretty healthy, so that is one saving grace for the lineup of Team Flash. But this Elsu is just sitting so far back. There we go. Whoa!
XB's gotta be careful. So much damage. And because of this slight harassment that's coming out from Elsu, just putting out the snipes and whatnot, it's allowing AHQ to freely roam around and get the objectives that they need. And this means that the Darkslayer is also already up for AHQ Esports Club. Such a difficult buff to kind of deal with, especially if you're in the back end and don't have counter engage. ADC though, oh no.
They seem to have the number. This NT definitely is wall hacking or something. His snipes are just connecting left, right, and center. They're just doing so much damage. I mean, Pro E pretty much just get destroyed there. XB just gets brought down to half health with a single shot, and that is not boding well for the side of Team Flash as they have to continue withstanding the onslaught, which is Elsu's constant sniping.
Oh, they're gonna catch Pro E. So close to catching Pro E there. Gao was way too overextended. It seems like AHQ Esports Club, they're not finished yet. They want to keep the pressure rolling. They get the mid tier 2, top tier 2 as well. And with 20 seconds left onto Gao, they can maybe even net themselves tier 3 towers. While on the other side of the spectrum, Flash's ADC does get the bottom tier 3, bottom tier 1, but I mean that's just a tier 1. They could trade that all day long and then just go and finish this game because that Nexus is already exposed, and that's going to be it. GG. We go to game number 5.
AHQ Esports showing up here in the quarterfinals. Not really afraid of Flash. I mean, you've seen them play aggressively. You've seen them draft this late game lineup, but then they played so aggressively, which just snowballed their heroes. I mean, Elsu was just out of control. Their kill graph was unkillable as well. No one really wanted to deal with that scary Sea Beast, and AHQ ties things up once again. After Matter 4, we are still down 2-2, and will only get better as we go deeper into this best of 7 series. The global ban pick is starting to take a toll on both of these teams.
I mean, it really pushes you to the break. You can already see how Team Flash is like, oh man, what can we do? The picks, they're just not really helping our case here. But again, both of these teams experienced with the global bans. They have been, I mean, in terms of being a roster, they have been together for, I think, a couple of months now, maybe even a year for Team Flash there. And you can already see here the endgame stats for game number 4. Hack was actually probably the MVP there. I think he was able to just kind of dip and dive so much in the fight, but definitely NT was the man with the plan, able to shut down so many players as they kind of, you know, go into the range of his Elsu.
Definitely, I think despite Hack, you know, on system might be the MVP just based on queue participation, we might see NT being the key player of the match. And we will know very shortly, in fact, once it shows up. But what a fantastic performance here by AHQ. There we go, NT on towards the Elsu. Absolutely crazy damage dealt in such a short span of time.
But now this means that I think AHQ has already expended the strongest ADCs in this game. But they still do have the Tel'Anas and the Violet, but I think those are more for like if you're really out of options, so to speak, because Violet really needs around 3 to 4 items before she can really scale up as an ADC. Tel'Anas also in the same ballpark in terms of what you have to do to make her work. So
definitely a tough few matches coming up there. Both of these teams do still need 2 more wins to move on towards the semifinals. We have AHQ Esports absolutely bringing it to the AWC 2019 champions, and they are showing why they deserve a berth in the semifinals, but things are not over yet.
Things are not over yet. So with that said, we're going to just let these players kind of, you know, soothe their weary souls, their weary warrior brains or whatnot, and we'll be back after a quick break. Again, this is the Arena Valor International Championship 2019. Presented by Tencent Games, Garena, CJ, ENM, OGN, True Online, and True Icon Hall, where we'll be having the grand finals. My name is Asarai. This is Zero. So guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Arena of Valor International Championship 2019, presented to you by Tencent Games, Garena, CJE&M, OGN, True Online, and True Icon Hall will be your casters for the rest of this quarterfinals. My name is Asarai, and here with me now is Zero.
Yeah, what a fantastic series we have so far. Both of these teams are tied up once again, 2-2, at almost exact same situation we were at yesterday. You have the underdog facing up against one of the favorites to take the entire team, Team Flash, as well as AHQ going up against each other towards the throats, and we are down right now. Game number 5. They are almost out of heroes for both teams.
Yeah, that's the thing. The thing that that might really affect AHQ's mentality going into Game 5 draft is that we basically have little to no ADCs left in our arsenal to use. Yes, I believe they still have Rourke, Tel'Anas, Violet, and whatnot, but the high-impact ADCs that such as Hayate, I think, have been already expended here by AHQ. And with that in mind, what else can they really bring to the table here? I mean, maybe they can take a page out of the book of Team Flash or I believe that was IGP, wherein you don't actually select an ADC and then you just find a team fight composition, put the pressure at the very start, and then cheese your way to victory. It might work. Well, we'll see how it kind of unravels once we are waiting for the draft to begin.
Yeah, we did see Team Flash try to go for that, whatever you just said, that sort of mentality there, picking out Marja as well as Yena, trying to get in the faces of the opponents, but the Elsu just got out of control too quickly for HQ, and that just sealed the game there for the side of, for Game 4 at least. But right now, we're going to Game 5. Team Flash, they do still have quite a few marksmen left in the pool for them. They do still have the Elsu, if I'm not mistaken. They do still have the Hayate, who has just been constantly banned out there by AHQ Esports.
Yeah.
But will AHQ let it through? Because they know that right now, for the side of Team Flash, they do still have the Hayate left open for them if they do not ban it out in the first phase.
Yeah, you have to respect the power output of that Hayate, especially in the hands of that Koi. He has such a scary initiator. He loves to kind of just play around with the threat of the Kunai Blitz. He doesn't even use it sometimes. He just uses the threat of the Kunai Blitz to win out duels. And because they've expended different picks here, such as the Kafeni, such as the Brunhilde, it allows Team Flash to use or to have more of the common ADCs to bring out as this series kind of, again, unravels before our eyes.
Exactly. This is another one of the rematches of the AWC 2019 where Team Flash and Team AHQ representing Thailand as well as Vietnam did go neck and neck as well. They did manage to reach a Game 7 where Team Flash actually reverse sweeped AHQ Esports in the end. So these two teams are actually quite evenly close despite what the group stage scores will tell you. But once again, both these teams, they do have to bring up every stop in the book they do have. And HQ Esports, they are going to find it harder and harder to ban against Team Flash because Krizix as well as the Zip has not yet been picked up there by Team Flash. So has the Hayate, the Elsu. They are going to, have to rack their brains on, if we cannot ban these heroes, how do we counterplay against them or outdraft them in this sense?
Yeah. Speaking of counterplay, one of the spearheads, I think, for AHQ's path to success is definitely KSSA.
Yeah.
Like, this man, whenever he excels, he really just brings the best out of HQ here. Not just because he's the support and, he gives the proper information, but his ability to peel as well as initiate team fight has been crucial for allowing people such as NT and Hack to be the middle laner to dish out damage, to be the ADC to dish out damage. And once KSSA, heats up, his whole team heats up with him. But if he doesn't, then that's when you kind of see AHQ kind of like, fall behind against the Team Flash matchup.
Yeah, his Baldum as well as Krizix plays were absolutely amazing. Really set things up, sets up the tempo, sets up a lot of opportunities for his team to capitalize on. So without all these top tier supports, I mean, we talked about the lack of marksmen left for AHQ. They are also running out of supports. There's still Zip left in the pool. Omar as well, something that they can pick up, something that might fit KSSA's playstyle as well, you know, being that beefy support, standing in the front line, opening up the vision as well as providing the opportunities.
Yeah.
But not many of these heroes are still left in the pool. There is still a Lumber that both of these teams have yet to pick up, but they are running out of options.
I mean, I guess it's also kind of safe to say that Team Flash is running out of options, but not as quickly as HQ, because again, they kind of use a little bit more of the lower tier picks, so to speak, here in our best of 7. So they have a little bit more, how do I say this, a little bit more to use in the later stages of the game. And this is where we kind of saw it from yesterday's matches between IGP and USG, where IGP were like just allowing USG to get the picks that you want first, but then you saw how they kind of spread out everything. And I think that's the biggest thing to take here when you're going to be playing global ban is to try to spread out everything, because if you put your eggs into one basket, you know, put all the good heroes in one game, you're kind of screw yourself over, and then the other games, hence you're just allowing your opposing team to get the better picks, and then they spread it out, and that just means that they have a better chance of winning every other game. It's a game of chess. This entire best of 7, it's not only a game of chess in the draft for each respective game, because we don't reset the picks anymore. It's again, you have to be very careful in training in this water. If you're not ready for it, you will get swept off your feet, and you will lose this series easy peasy, no lemon squeezy.
Yeah, on that thought, it does seem that, you know, Team Flash, after seeing how HQ picked up all the strong heroes, even in the 4th game, it felt like, you know, okay, they have the stronger heroes, let's try to win with a margin pick, but then even if we don't win, it's okay. They spend up the Elsu, they spend out all these strong heroes, so they might win in the long run. I mean, like you said, this is a 3D game of chess, and Team Flash seems to have the upper hand despite being tied up right now.
And here we are, guys. Team Flash, as well as AHQ Esports Club. I'm rubbing my hands together, not because it's cold here, but because this is a friction-heavy game. We are seeing going to be the Senyo as well as the Florentino here for Team Flash hovered over, probably removed away from the board as well. While HQ, on the other hand, will be, of course, never going to see the zip. We're never going to see this particular support.
Not on the main stage, I think.
Never again. Yeah. Maybe in Grand Finals, but
maybe.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, that's not going to happen.
It's always hopeful. I like to see that big balloon rolling away. You know, also, it's a treat to watch, and we'll see if AHQ actually ban out the Hayate once again. Oh no, thinking about something else.
They respect the Kilgroth. I mean, I would assume, actually, I would say that Kilgroth makes the most sense because all of the supports that HQ have used up until now are CC heavy. And because you can force Kilgroth to use, you know, his ultimate, and then after that, you can actually still crowd control him. He's not invincible, guys. But the thing is, if you don't have anybody with good chunk of CC at the very start, he kind of still kind of just tramples over even without using his ultimate. So that's a scary thought. And removing him, I think, is much better than it is to kind of set your sights on a Hayate.
Yeah. Not to mention, there is also not many strong Dragon Slayer laning heroes. Dark Slayer lane heroes left in the pool, so Kilgroth would be the strongest option left for Team Flash to pick up because they already expanded the Yena as well as the Omen. So Kilgroth, even for AHQ, they used up the Kilgroth as well as the Yena and Omen themselves, so not many heroes can face up against the lane to deal with this Kilgroth, so they have to ban it out, which leaves Darcy open for Flash to pick it up.
And what HQ can bring out here, probably secure a mid already, or maybe as a support, and then I don't know. ADC actually isn't as good for them anymore. So Valheim, not really a strong pick at all. Easy to get knocked over. So
especially by the Darcy, always be able to catch him out.
And look at this, just because they are already always expanded in terms of the mid lane, they immediately look over the Ignis. They can go for maybe an Ignis and a support, which is going to be the Ormar.
Or Talanas, so that's one of the remaining marksmen left for the side of HQ Esports. They can of course move this Talanas towards the jungle, but it looks like the marksman position is where they want him to be.
I'm assuming after this game, if we actually see HQ win this and they have to, get another one to, rather they have to beat Team Flash within these 2 games, we're probably gonna see Game 6 be more of them just kind of going for a cheese strat now.
Yeah.
Because they've really expended all of the picks that they can go for.
All the meta picks are already out. Ormar,
Exactly.
the next best support after, you know, all the zips, all the Kriziks. Kriziks is still left open here for Team Flash if they want to pick it up though.
Against the Ignis,
Not so good. That
Not
is
so
true. Too much AoE to deal with the Ignis, but they do finally pick up the Hayate. Finally, HQ Esports, after 4 games, lets it through, and Team Flash will pick it up without any hesitation. We will have Ellie on the Hayate, most definitely for sure here.
yeah. For HQ, on the other hand, they will pick up the Killen. I mean, Killen, again, I feel like he needs a little bit more setup to be a proper jungler assassin compared to the Quick Knight that can actually set up himself. Killen does need kind of a prime opportunity to strike, which he kind of plays the same mindset that you would a Hayate. So they need a setup hero for this one, which would probably be the best one, would be Lumbar.
Yeah.
But Team Flash might just ban that because they already know what can actually happen next.
There is, of course, the Lumbar, like you said, not many crowd control supports left. There is still the Toro left remaining if AHQ Esports wants to pick it up, but Toro is definitely not one of the meta picks right now if they ever decide to go for that route.
Omega is still something here, though. It's kind of like Thane 2.0.
It's a budget Thane, budget Omar sort of a hero.
Sort of, yeah. That's why we don't see him every so often. But, well, speaking of which, he does get picked from time to time. And Nat has been removed from the table here. Also a pretty solid pick. You do, again, use that ultimate of hers to kind of push everybody off. Murad, actually, Team Flash hasn't used Murad yet before.
Not yet, not in this series so far. But it's not one of the favorite heroes for ADC. For the side of Team Flash, this is going to confuse people because ADC and but ADC is the jungler and he doesn't really play the Murad that much. Not one of his. He does, of course, is a good Murad player, but probably is not feeling that comfortable or just does not fit the playstyle of Team Flash. Because from what we've seen so far, Team Flash likes to drag out the game, play the long game, and Murad, of course, can help it out, but when you have a Hayate as well as a Murad, that really limits your early game options. The Richter is banned out as well from the side of AHQ.
Wait, didn't KSSA just use the Alice?
No, it was Pro E using the Alice.
Oh, okay. I thought they made a mistake and just kind of banned it out.
That might be a costly mistake, especially this late into this series here.
That's true. I'm just going to chant Lombard, Lombard. No.
Oh, Superman.
I mean, they don't have a DS lane yet, so this could actually be the Superman in the DS lane. We've seen it been used. Was it HQ who actually used it or HKA? Either or, it did work pretty well. His ability to just roam around the map, especially once he goes into flight mode, it makes him a strong contender for ganks, and it makes a lot of sense that they need somebody strong in the front line. And Superman, even though he isn't as incredibly powerful as he was before, is still a formidable hero to pick up, especially when you need him in a pinch.
Now, do you think this Darcy is going to go towards the jungle or more towards the mid here for Team Flash? Because they are lacking both in both mids as well as jungles.
We're probably gonna see him in the jungle. They probably want to make this Darcy as strong as possible at the very start. So jungle should be his role to go for. But well, the hover over the Zephys makes me want to eat my words now.
Zephys can of course play in the Slayer lane as well.
That's actually also true, and he is pretty beefy, so that can work against a Superman who you would want to kind of try to outlast. But okay,
this is gonna be a Chi Dark Slayer or jungle, and then you put the Darcy mid. I mean, there's just so much flexibility right now for the side of Team Flash. They literally only showed the lane of the Omar as well as the Hayate. All three of these heroes can interchange in terms of lanes slightly. I mean, Darcy can go both mid, most likely mid right now, seeing the lineup for Team Flash. It's just the Zephys as well as the Chi who can interchange so far.
There is the Omega, so it is going to be a DS lane Superman. Now, here's the thing. We're going to be seeing, obviously, Team Flash after they swap, we're going to be seeing the mentality of why they want to see it. Because I'm curious how the Chi or the Zephyrus actually fares up against the Superman. But for the most part, in terms of like who you want to actually go for the jungle, I think Chi might be the better option because you get her level 4 faster, obviously, when you put her in the jungle, and it gives a little bit more ganking prowess for Team Flash here. But
so it will be Chi. Oh no, Zephyrus will be the jungle hero, and Chi will be played by Gao in the Dark Slayer lane. So this doesn't sound too bad as well. I mean, the flexibility of both these heroes and the players as well can definitely set things up. But AHQ.
Yeah, I mean, Zephyrus is, even though he's kind of like, you know, used more of a tank nowadays, he's actually a really strong duelist to his own right. Maybe even as good as like a, who was I remembering before? Zill, was it? Aside from that and Lubu. So I think they're just going to bring it back once again here when you put him in that jungle role, especially when he gets his ultimate, really will kind of help against the fight, you know, up against the HQ. So we'll see how it pans out.
Team Flash once again drafted a very heavy crowd control lineup. They have the Chi, they have the Darcy as well as the Zephyrus, so plenty of stuns, not to mention the Omar as well. Once again, 4 heroes with some sort of crowd control, and the Hayate to finish things up with his damage, facing up against the lineup from AHQ Esports, who is lacking slightly in terms of crowd control. I mean, you have the Talanas with the slow as well as the ultimate, the Omega with his occasional stuns. The most crowd control will be coming up from the Superman with his slows and his pushbacks, but will that be enough to secure game number 5? This is a very crucial game for both teams to win, because that will put them 1 game away from moving on to the semifinals. This is once again the rematch of the AWC 2019 semifinals. We have AHQ Esports facing up against Team Flash in game number 5.
Superman leading the charge, such a quick hero here. Again, that flight mode of his just able to give so much ability to roam around the map. This was why he was so picked back in the day. Very, very strong. One of probably the strongest DC heroes, well, in the comic and here in AOV as well.
Yeah, he can be as strong as he needs to be here, and he is opening up the map. Very difficult to catch him down. Tanky as well, trying to almost steals the blue minion, the blue buff here from ADC, but he managed to secure it.
Yeah, he had to use that spell of his to get the final hit, but it's going to be all fine. Now, Ellie finally getting himself a Hayate here. I actually thought that they would maybe switch up to Datkoi, knowing that Hayate is a plausible pick already for Team Flash, but they still go up with Ellie. Also, another very strong ADC player for Team Flash, but still, I would have maybe wanted to see Datkoi back onto the Elsu.
Yep, maybe keeping him for the last possible Elsu pick. There is, of course, 1 more game, even if either of these teams do win. But obviously, at that point, we will most likely see HQ Esports banning out the Elsu, knowing that that is the one last marksman that is in the meta.
Finally, level 4 is here for ADC. He can use that death from above to just dive right in and start team fight here. And I'm trying to see where the kill-in is. He actually activates his assassinate, try to go a little bit invisible, maybe to dive right in the face of Ellie. Now they found Taos, but he was able to flicker away from the fight here. And speaking of Taos, he actually is the one playing the Talanas. This is a switch up from the base of it, as HQ kind of play around different mentalities, different players, different roles per hero.
Yeah, we have hacked on the Superman, something we don't see every day, and NT will be on the Ignis. So this is definitely a switch up. We'll have to wait and see if this is going to be effective enough to get them the win in game number 5. But so far, the first dragon does go towards the way of Team Flash, and we have Rush. Oh, the engagement coming on here.
Big follow-up onto the Superman here, but Hack should be able to escape. He's able to just, you know, he's a beat down, he's a punching bag. He's able to absorb so much damage and still able to walk out of that. But the thing is, this is the weakness of Atalanas. Her dueling capability only exceeds once she has that ultimate of hers. But NT and KSSA, knowing this one, immediately give their teammate much love in the bottom lane. Darcy waiting onto this mid brush here could be very fatal KSSA in the middle of the fight. Well, he's at Omega. He shouldn't be in a tight corner. You can see that Ignis has to go all the way back around to get to his mid lane, and maybe he lost a little bit of CS here as well.
Yeah, the Talanas not really having the best start in the lane. Tao is actually losing out even 1 versus this Hayate, which is expected because of how the Hayate able to wave clear really quickly and then start pressuring you when you're trying to get all those creeps in the lane. So this laning phase is going as expected, at least so far, for the side of Flash. But HQ Esports, do they have the heroes to start ramping up the pressure? Pro E.
The pressure is there. KSSA got caught in the middle. No escape at all. Just because that is the Darcy that will keep him in track because of his dimensional rift. It's so difficult to just kind of exceed on that. And Tao's, oh no, he has no support whatsoever. He's going to get caught here. Say goodnight, Sweet Prince. Maybe, just maybe, they actually go in, flicker onto the face of Tao's. He still survives. Not for much longer though. But this is AHQ with the retaliation. They're actually able to pin down one, make that two. ADC in the middle of it all. But it seems like the Zephys is able to survive if he can just dive in onto this one. Gets stunned though right into the face. He gets denied, and then that's not going to be too good. But still, this is a 1-for-1 exchange with Team Flash getting up on top.
It was actually 2-for-1. Ellie did play very aggressively to try and secure the kill, knowing that he had no more dashes to get out of there. So a small victory for the side of Flash, but definitely still small victory for AHQ Esports Club, but Team Flash still leading the way so far. Blue buff on towards Darcy. He's going to be able to spam so much of his skills to just continue pressure on towards this mid lane.
Yeah, thank you, kind sir. You're going to be able to get all of these nice objectives. But yeah, there's the gold lead already here for Team Flash. The idea there that knowing that KSSA was already knocked out and Tao's not respecting that he could immediately be Dobuff on the bottom lane was a little bit too ballsy, I would say, for AHQ to kind of respect that. But again, agreed, maybe they just wanted to keep getting the resources for Tao's here. Lots of tussles back and forth in the mid lane, but nobody to be had. They'll just back away. Abyssal Dragon will be taken by Team Flash, really going to help their case in keeping the gold alive. Now already 2-0 in terms of that Dragon here in Game 5.
Pro E might be some trouble, or not going to connect the stun. It's KSA, but Ellie taking a lot of damage, has to back off. Tao's not able to land his, her ultimate to kill off Ellie, and he's going to be able to port away here.
Could have been really scary there, but Rush not yet up to the point where he's gonna be, such a big threat with the kill-in. Now this is a 4-man invade into the bottom lane, immediately taking out that bottom tier 1. Are they gonna be able to trade that up? That's the question here though, as Tao's is looking at the camp to take off for himself. Gao onto the side, looking for maybe an intro with his ultimate. Again, when you can punch somebody through the wall and hit them onto an obstacle, they get stunned for much longer, and that will help IFL here start some team fights or maybe even counteract. But look at the position for Team Flash. They clear out the waves. They go to the bottom lane. They want the spot tier 1.
Oh, Tao has to use the flicker to back off. Omar trying to keep them in place right now. But NT will be in the midst of everything. XP trying to back off. Inix ultimate is not going to connect. And Inix does fall. NT will pay with his life. And that is going to be all that Team Flash is able to get, but that they will cherish every single kill they can get, and maybe even this mid-tier 1 tower as well.
That's all she wrote. NT, I don't know. He might have thought that he's kind of like the Hayate in this game, where he can just come into the middle of the fight and change everything. The problem is, he overcommitted to it, got blown up, and had to use his invisibility there. But the thing is, there was nobody to follow up. KSSA's ultimate was already gonna stop its duration, so there was no teamfight presence for AHQ at all in that one. And because of it, they lose the bottom tier 1, and they maybe even they might even lose this mid tier 1 as well. But of course, since we are just 7 minutes into the game, the respawn timers for both teams not too big just yet. That means that they can't save their tower for the meantime.
He's going to get pulled back, and he's going to take a lot of damage. Almost gets instantly nuked down there. Once again, Anti with the positioning. He's not a Hayate, as you constantly just keep reminding him. And he's going to fall once again. That is not boding well for the side of Team AHQ.
They're going to actually force the fight here. This is a 4 versus 5. Can they really make it happen? KSSA has to go behind his tower, but you can see onto the side. Gal looking. He got spotted out, though, by the Talanas. But this means that they just open up a possibility to break at this mid-tier 1. Or, Dragon's up. It's an easier target. Take it up. And this is Team Flash optimizing and what they get all around the map, it's definitely going to help them out a little bit further as our lead ever grows bigger for Team Flash.
Cal is going to spot out Hack, trying to start things out. Rush not in the best position to start chomping everyone down. He gets pulled back and is going to get nuked almost instantly, but he's managed to dash away. Gao gets pushed on the tower. He's going to fall. Taos will be the one to get a kill. Hacks towards the front line. He's going to get nuked down as well. Too much damage coming from the Hayate, as well as the Darcy. NT, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And he's going to fall as well. 3 heroes down for the side of AHQ Esports. And finally, looks like this mid kill on tower will be up for the taking for Team Flash.
Interestingly enough, that shouldn't have been Flash's win if we kind of just dissect that a little bit more. I mean, they were able to keep maybe Rush not alive, but I mean, re-engaging on that one was a little bit foolhardy because Zephys is onto the side. This is what I'm talking about. Zephys, even though he should be able, he's more of like somebody who's a punching bag. He's not too shabby when it goes in terms of like trying to get some fights. Death from Above is such a great starting tool, and even everything else, his flurries, able to kind of deal so much damage, especially now that well, he's already kind of getting his power spike 13 levels in, 1 above or maybe 3 above some of the members of HQ as well.
Way too much damage coming from the Zephys. It makes so much sense for them to pick up this aggressive jungle hero right now. Rush doesn't seem to be able to do anything against all these heroes from Team Flash. They are either too tanky or way too mobile. Even a Darcy, how do you catch him up here as Equivalent? There's just not enough lockdown. Pro-E opening up the map, might pay with his life, but still a very tanky support. And they managed to get the Darkslayer as well as back off without any casualties.
Not any casualties, but it seems like AHQ, they want casualties on their side. Ellie able to activate his Kunai Blitz, and look at this, Pro-E is keeping himself sustained there with the spin to win. It's going to be beautifully executed here for Team Flash, but here comes the other members, going to look to find themselves a target. Hack is down, they know that Rush is on the brush, maybe? No, they don't. He actually was able to escape. The Dragon will not reveal this man right here. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. I thought it was going to be even more, but he was probably able to use his invisibility, go back into the brush, and no one would have been the wiser. Hiding in plain sight definitely worked in favor of Rush there, but what's not working in their favor is that the Drake is already up, pushing up into it. Big initiate there from ADC. Death from Above actually sets it up. They do still actually knocked a couple of the members of FL out of the base, but the damage has been done. Mid-tier 3, top tier 3 is already exposed, and that Nexus is ripe for the taking.
To see Rush just being punished there by the Darcy. When you have such heroes that really rely on the mobility to get in and out, Darcy is one of the best picks to counteract that. With the pullback from his ultimate, just punishes AHQ Esports over and over again, and Ellie's reaching that critical mass point where he is going to start just melting all these heroes. Even the Superman is going to be wary when he sees the Hayate in his front line.
Man, this Stellaris is not showing its worth. I'm not sure how many times Taos has used his ultimate maybe to initiate or even break out fights in favor of HQ, but since it's not working right now, it seems like it's a bad case for him. HQ is right here, or rather ADC is right here at the brush. He's just waiting for maybe the disrupt as the members of FL are trying to push the bottom lane. Now they collapse, they converge onto the mid lane. Big damage right here. NT comes in. There's going to be onslaught because Darcy is onto the backside. He has much mobility here. I don't think they can actually push him back out. Big ultimate there from ADC, and that is 2 takedowns already. Nothing was taken up by AHQ. And with that in mind, they can go into this bottom tier 2, break it down. There's a tower, or rather there's a siege minion here, and that should make the bottom tier 3 even easier for Team Flash.
If they fail again and again to try and kill off the Hayate, it looks like they're going to go straight for the game as they dive in. But this might be a mistake, but the Superman does fall. Only 1 hero left, which is the NT, and he will not be able to defend his Nexus as Team Flash takes an easy game number 5. 1 map away from moving on to the semifinals, and what a performance coming out from Team Flash. Really playing the 3D chess game very well.
I think even though Team Flash did a fantastic job in that game, AHQ were not as clean, yeah. Or they're actually kind of forcing back Team Flash. Yeah, so Team Flash was the one who is not as clean in this game. I mean, it seemed like they were able to play well enough, but AHQ, well, they did also the same thing, but you can already see that this lack of resources in terms of the heroes really straining what they're able to do in the game.
Yeah, and letting the Hayate out without enough lockdowns definitely did not pay out for them. I mean, how many times did we see Ellie just escaping with an inch of his life? Just a little bit more crowd control might have been enough to kill off the Hayate maybe 2 or 3 more times. But just the lack of lockdown in general, they had no answers for the Hayate or even the Zephyrs. And that just spelled disaster for the game. As we can see, Team Flash was very dominant in game number 5.
This is Tao's still honest. Hasn't really proven its worth yet. And here he is, the key player of the game, ADC, 76.9% in that kill participation. Damage dealt, damage taken, 20 above, and that KDA is 5-1 and 5. Man, this guy here has been so good at initiating the fights with the Zephyrs that it just makes it so scary. And now, we're going into Game 6, and it's already match point here for Team Flash.
Yeah, and what does AHQ Esports have left in the bank for them? I mean, there's no great marksman left. Probably only the Violet, that's a viable option for them, but even then they have to surround Violet with enough CC or heroes to drag out the game long enough. But looking at the amount of heroes they have left, it is not looking good for the side of the Thai team.
Yeah, here's the thing though, HQ in terms of the picks, I think it wasn't as bad as we thought it is. But the biggest factor there is that these micro mistakes of positioning from AHQ, where KSA was already, killed before or while they were going down to bottom lane to dive out the Taos, and Taos didn't respect that, still stuck underneath his tower, and he paid the price. And you can see here already that they're committing onto Pro E, but they didn't disengage quickly enough, and they tried to dive in onto Ellie, thinking that they might have caught him, but you saw how tunnel vision they were in, and then everybody from FL just crashed right in. And I don't know what's happening right now for AHQ, but the ability of them to try to identify which fights are good and bad is kind of shaken in this 5th game, and that might be the cause of why they're kind of not in the prime spot, because I feel like the composition that they made, even though it's not as the best, compared to like game 1, still is pretty good. It still has its own win condition, but the win conditions weren't met because of how I guess greedy they were in the team fights.
Yeah, we might have seen how unfamiliar they were with the roles as well. I mean, NT got caught out way too many times as the Ignis played too far ahead. They're getting caught by both the Zephyrs as well as the Darcy a couple of times, which really made his game very difficult to play. But they might just fix things up. Put NT back on the marksman role, and then maybe they will be able to fix things up. But once again, guys, this is game number 6. Not many heroes left for AHQ. While Team Flash, they do still have the Elsu, they have the Telanas, they have the Violet. Plenty of marksmen left in the pool for them to play with.
And now, drums roll, the crowd cheers, jeers, taunts. I don't know what to say anymore. Team Flash is 1 win away to go into the playoffs to face IGP next week. But the thing is, of course, AHQ are not out of this just yet. I mean, they have not much left in the tank, but that tank can still go a mile or something if they can keep the engine rolling, if they can keep the engine running. Maybe they still have a shot at this. It's gonna be a tall task, a tall order. But as we go into game number 6, let's see how the draft undergoes.
Yeah, this is a very crucial game. AHQ Esports, they need to force a game 7 with whatever they have left in the tank, because they do not have much. Let's be frank here. They have to ban out the Kirov once again, which leaves the Krizik still left open if Team Flash wants to go for it. The Alsu is there, still an option for Team Flash as well. There is also still the Florentino. I think we haven't seen Team Flash. No, Team Flash picked up a Florentino, I think, in map number 3, if I'm not mistaken. So the Dark Slayer options for both sides, not many heroes left. So they really have to look at the holistic picture of what heroes are left, and how to counteract against all of them.
I just gotta say, your vocabulary is much deeper. I actually forgot what holistic means. Such a big word. Oh man, that's such a bad thing to say as a English caster. But yeah, I'm just kind of putting myself out to dry here in the sun. But going back into the draft, finally they actually hover over to Zenial. It seems like Team Flash really respecting the Florentino, and because we don't have any much more options for KSSA, and even though Alice or Annette might be a good pick, it's not a good battle pick to think,
Yes,
right?
it
Because
is.
you want something who's able to combat as as a support, and this is why you don't really see too much of them anymore. You do see Kha'Zix a lot, even though he's not as tanky, because he does have the invisibility. It's kind of like an Alice 2.0 or something. But obviously this Daniel will be much needed, and it seems like already Richter has been brought out here.
I think AHQ forgot about a Richter, one of the stronger Darkslayer lane duelists as well. This might be a DS lane Xenial, something a throwback to when Xenial was stronger in a 1 versus 1 scenario.
Back in like 2018,
Yeah.
back in the day. We might even see a Zuka come out if ever we're sort of lucky here. Sadly enough, there's no Kilgroth that can be picked up by AHQ because they already use it, and of course it's banned as of the moment, but Darcy is out for them here. This could go into the hands of Rush or Hack, as we saw XB actually play in the mid lane for Team Flash for Game 5.
Yeah, but if they decide to go for the Darcy, there is just so many heroes that Flash does still have in the pool against the Darcy. I mean, the L2 is one of the best as well against the Darcy, not to mention the Talanis as well, just because of how they outrange the hero. But looks like, Ignis.
Oh,
Thou
Zero.
shall not pass.
Yeah, the Gandalf, but Zero, check it out. Ormar, third pick for AHQ. We might actually be seeing a Zenial go back into DS lane.
So many memories coming from a Darkslayer lane Xenial here. But he's going to have a tough time against the Richter because of how the amount of crowd control the Richter brings towards the lane, the amount of damage. Xenial does have the shield to just constantly top himself up.
Unless this is a sneaky Ormar jungle and then Zenial support.
Or jungle Xenial.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't think Zenial can actually carry out the jungle fast
He
enough.
clears it decently fast with his shield as well as his passive.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is an option. I mean, I played a couple of jungle Xenials myself, but definitely not the best option. I mean, if you look at the amount of jungle heroes left for the side of AHQ, they do still have Rourke for themselves, that's for sure.
That's actually pretty strong. Think about it.
Yeah, they do still also have... okay, actually not too many top tier jungle heroes.
Yeah, speaking of Rourke though, Team Flash is actually hovering over that particular character, because if you think about it, you have yourself already 2 front lines, 2 big damage dealers. If they have the Rourke, that's a pretty scary matchup here. Now, at the end of it, Teamy, so they're really batting out supports for the moment. What else could actually be up and running here? Maybe the Annette or the Chognar. You haven't really seen the Chognar
Not at all.
given some love at all, but because of the lockdown that does come out from AHQ, Chognar is really good because of her dispels and whatnot, as well as her heals.
Could be something, looks like AHQ has pretty much decided upon banning out the Chognar.
Not locked in yet though, or not banned out yet.
There we go.
There we go.
Flash themselves bans out the Ryoma as well as the Rourke, so banning out jungle heroes. They might be forced to put this Darcy in the jungle and then pick another mid to go up against this Ignis.
L'Oreal is not used yet.
Not yet.
By HQ, I believe.
On both sides, in fact. It's just not been picked in this series so far. A Laurel, instantly locks down on the Valheim.
Still don't have anything to counter this Valheim, to be honest. There's a good enough chunk of, how do you say this, of zone that comes out for Team Flash that this Valheim can finally possibly work. I mean, in a regular scenario, you really won't pick the Valheim, but in this particular case, I think it's going to work out well for Team Flash.
There's pretty much only one stun coming out from the Omar. But the Valheim, for the Violet is a great answer to the Valheim, I think. Just outranges, oh, Slims and, okay, that scared me for a moment. Thought it was one of my pub games where we have 2 marksmen.
I mean, it could work. It could work.
Slims as well as a Violet?
PTSDs. No, I don't. I don't want to see this anymore.
Not this again.
It's not a pub game.
Oh, looks like they are going to supplement their lack of crowd control with a Diao Chan mid. So it's going to be a Darcy in the jungle and a Slims to try and outrange this Valheim. So not a bad idea to go for the side of AHQ Esports. The execution though is something that we will have to see. Whether AHQ Esports Club is able to play all these heroes to their maximum potential, or will the Valheim just, have a completely free game.
I don't know. I feel like HQ, they have really suboptimal picks here. But again, with almost everything already used, this is probably the best that they can implement. But the thing is, Slim doesn't really explode to me as a true ADC anymore. Yeah. He's more of like a jungler that kind of just roams around and tries to hit you with his spear, and then you get a stun, then you get a follow-up. But up against the Valheim, I don't think Slims will actually win that particular matchup.
They do have the Diao Chan, which I think is the saving grace of their entire draft from AHQ.
True.
So if Diao Chan is able to land up her skills, that might prove to be very difficult to play for, especially for like Valheim or even your Richter. You do not want to get caught up in those crowd control skills, because that will be proving fatal. A setup for the arrow, for the spear, most definitely Diao Chan is one of the easier setups.
Now, as you are waiting, match point already for Team Flash. Can they finish this up and go into the playoffs with a 4-2 record? That's the thing. We still have to see how this unravels before our eyes. Again, guys, put in your predictions. Hashtag HQ win, hashtag FL win. As we go into game number 6. Again, one more game, and that's it for Team Flash. They win. Of course, this just means that HQ have to work tooth and nail to be able to push this into game 7 to have a shot at still looking at that trophy right in front of them.
Here we go, HQ Esports on the blue, Team Flash on the red. Very familiar situation once again. Will HQ Esports attempt to just have the revenge of the semifinals from AWC 2019, or will this be a repeat performance from the AWC champions? Oh, Spear almost connects on towards both XB and Pro E, but they're going to be able to back off.
Now, here's the thing that you pointed out a while ago we should really watch out for, is that we have a Taos versus Gao matchup, but actually no. They put the Valheim in the top lane to bully out this this Zenio.
I think it's a great idea. Zenio doesn't really do well against ranged heroes, and Gao can actually just play in the bushes, and there's nothing much that the Slims can actually do against the Richter because of how tanky he is. And even if you try and go to the bushes and hunt him out, that's where the Richter is strong, is when he has the green buff from the bush to be able to constantly stun you up.
KSSA is going to the top lane here to help out his teammate. Finally spotted out by ADC there, gets pushed back quickly. And I think this is FL gonna try to use the power, the attack speed of the Valheim to get some quick destructions onto the tower here. Look at this. This is just a quick start off into the tower, already taking quite a substantial amount of damage. But of course, the wave clear is going to be adamant from HQ to kind of just push them back. But you can already see the aggression that comes out for Team Flash here, already putting this tower almost to 50%.
And Taos is not having a great lane. KSSA as well, not really doing the best he can. Oh, Gao almost dies, and he will die. Anti as well as Rush. Darcy as well as the Slims will most definitely be easy to catch out the Florentino. The Richter, and he will pay with his life. First kill does go towards the way of AHQ Esports Club, and much needed kill to just dissuade the pressure on towards the top lane.
AHQ not done with it just yet. Abyssal Dragon into their sights. They finally pick it up, and there you go. Slight advantage here for AHQ. There was a port by Ellie here, but is he really going to go to the bottom side? Looks like no, he's going to hug with his wave, clear out that one and maybe put more damage onto this top tier 1. But this just means that FL, aside from being super aggressive, is also looking for as much farming room for this Valheim as possible.
Yeah, the Valheim does need some time to reach his critical mass, but that just leaves more time for this Darcy to set up kills across the map as well as just boost up in his farm. As we can see, he is reaching his jungle item almost upgraded as well. Ellie still staying up in the top lane. Hack doing his best to just stall out towards the mid lane, and rotations are coming in.
They've kind of swapped a little bit here. They've put the Slims onto the top lane. Maybe that's what they wanted to happen, because now there's like 4 people of FL just kind of crashing down in. KSSA activates the ultimate. That's really, really good in pushing them back, but still the siege power for AHQ, or rather for FL, reigns supreme. And this is actually bad, because now Tao's, he had to respond to the top lane. There's going to be left a little bit of a farming room here for the Richter, and you never ever want to give farming room for a Richter.
That's one of the downsides, once again, for a DS lane scenario, because once you leave the lane, that leaves an open map, an open lane for your opponent to be one-up in terms of farm for you, and that is one of the reasons why Zenio has slowly moved from a DS laner, not to mention his nerfs, of course, but to a support hero right now.
Yeah, because like more DS lanes are all about the duel rather than the support anymore. But you can see Ellie is so quick at actually just shifting lanes, using again the power of the Valheim. Valheim probably one of the strongest picks to use to try to destroy towers, just because of how quick his attack speed is. And they're making good use of this. They're trying to force AHQ to always try to find its Valheim, and Ellie is just kind of quick to get out of their grasp, and you can already see it with a 2-0-0 on this particular gambit of a user.
And not to mention the movement speed from the Valheim, really great for rotating across the map as well. Really setting out a tempo NT.
He's going to throw out a spear here ever so often. The thing is, it gets blocked by so many things right now that the spear from this Slims doesn't provide as much worth as it did back in the past.
They do have decent setup though for the Slims to land his arrow. There's the Omar as well as the Diao-chan, and not to mention the Darcy as well with his pullback. So plenty of ways to initiate the fight for the side of AHQ, but they do need to take these fights, because you can see MT caught up in a bad place. Oh, will he be able to survive? Not enough, as Poi will be able to finish him off.
Has to flicker over the wall there. KSSA is just chasing it down. Cannot get scooped back in with the Dimensional Rift of the Darcy. So that is going to be, well, a free kill picked up by FL. And you can see ADC, he's proxying the wave. He wants something to crash down onto that mid-tier 1 and provide good enough damage. Darcy should be there in a matter of seconds, but you can see already how much output it was from ADC's Fennec.
Zenio not really able to close out distance. The Fennec just way too slippery for them to catch out, and that's going to be Team Flash having the superior rotations as well as the mobility. Oh, the arrow's going to connect onto Pro E. Is that enough damage? So it looks like there is not going to be any follow-up, and that's going to be the bottom tier 1 falling towards the way of Team Flash.
Yeah, that's the thing about the Slims. If you're not able to follow after his spear connects, it's I don't think it's going to be an optimal use of his time. You can just probably maybe delay them a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's going to be very difficult to just do that. Now there is the Abyssal Dragon still taken here by Team Flash. Big ultimate comes out from Ellie there, pushes them a little bit back. And here is FL just retreating, respecting the team fight presence that is AHQ.
Yeah, and that really helping out with all this crowd control here. Not really much that the Diao-chan can do. Pro E not going to get locked down. Looks like he will be able to back off for now, as both teams just positioning themselves towards the mid.
Yeah. Might I also just add, Team Flash's composition has double ADC. So the longer this game progresses, even if Fennec isn't really the late game ADC we all know and love, or whatever word you want to call it, because I feel like there's a lot of haters for Fennec, this is still a double ADC comp. The longer this progresses, the more damage output will come out for Team Flash.
Oh, XB taking a lot of damage on this Ignis. The Omar trying to finish things off, but not going to be enough, as Pro E is there to help him out as well.
Gao had to actually flicker over the wall. Still, though, he actually allows Ellie to spot his man out. Gao is still alive with a sliver, as well as Ellie there. How do they actually connect with this one? No, it's not. It's not an Elsu snipe. It's not that big of a range. It's still substantial, though, but you did see that there was someone who's going to body block, that being Pro E, I believe, or XB to keep their ADCs alive.
Really close call there for both sides. But Ellie as well as Gao able to just run away with an inch of their health. And that's going to be another opportunity lost there for the side of AHQ Esports as they are slowly falling behind here. Valheim, he's going for more of a critical build, already complete the Clave Sanctity and most likely going for a Slick Sting right after this.
Imagine if he actually gets like 3 consecutive auto attacks with critical. That is going to be muy actually caliente for him. They're very, very delicious. But anyways, here it is. They're looking into the top lane. Maybe it's break this top tier 2, but because without the wave, it's not really going to work for Team Flash. Now with the Siege Minion, maybe that's enough. A couple more auto attacks and ADC gets quick work for him. This is also the power of a Fennec. The ability to push towers is so much stronger because of this little weasel. Not sure what kind of squirrel that is in your roster. KSA. One more for Pro E could have been enough. Pushes them back. Has to try to run away here. Still actually is alive. And hack onto the other side. He uses ultimate. He tried to go for a stasis, but they knew where he was. And he had no protection with his teammate whatsoever. Rush just dives right in. And he does get a shutdown kill there onto XB. So that's a mid for mid exchange. But you can already see that they're not afraid to push them all right back into the middle of it. But the wave clear from AHQ, keeping them afloat.
Yeah. Just some silver lining for their draft is they do have the Darcy just constantly be a threat. You know, you cannot overcommit in all these fights because of the mass amount of damage that this Darcy can do. They have to watch out. See XB just get destroyed there by the shield as well as a Rush, but they did lose Taos in the end.
Look at that. Top lane has already lost all its towers except for the tier 3. There is a substantial lead for Flash, Dragon, as well as DS are already up, and we're reaching mid to late game already here, gentlemen. And you know what that means. Ellie is already a scary Valheim, especially the amount of resources that were really invested in making this Valheim hella strong.
Try and Tooth and Nail to try and defend this mid-tier 1 tower. 4 heroes on both sides trying to defend the best they can. Meanwhile, Gao as well as Zenial still dueling it out bottom lane. But once again, the Richter, how do you deal with this Richter? Just back off when the shield is up and just go back in once the shield is down. Pretty much is the easiest way to play against the Zenial in the lane.
Unless Zenial maybe has like auto attack items, it's not gonna work at all. So it's more of him just kind of like keeping a short leash on Gao. But speaking of which, Zenial's got spotted out here. There's the stun. You can already see the power of Gao there. He can maybe use his ultimate to actually get out from the fight. But because his teammates, his opponents has so many crowd controls, it's not going to work out well for them. Ultimate comes out from the Diao Chan. XB does actually pay with his life. That's going to be a 1-for-1 exchange. But now, here it is. They're going to be crashing right back in. KSSA is nowhere near to try to get a fight onto this one. But still, I don't think they're going to be able to get this mid-tier 1 because that was not a target that they intended to remove. It should have been the Darcy. But, yeah, HQ are just good at kind of just keeping itself alive. Darkslayer almost gets knocked out there, but FL right up the wazoo just chased them down. Rush is already hella freakishly low. He has to back away and respect them as ADC is already reaching his own late game. His auto attack damage is starting to kind of scale through the roof here.
Yeah, but still the dual mage combo coming from the Darcy as well as the Diao Chan is just proving so much control that Flash can't really commit the best they want to into all these fights, and they have to back off every single time because of the threat of the crowd control coming from Darcy and Diao Chan. Their two marksmen can't really survive against all this, and we can see ADC pushing in forward very aggressively. He might play with his life here as KSSA pushes forward, but oh no, Hak will be the one to fall.
He still has some movement speed to go around the side here. But speaking of movement speed, here goes XB from the side. He is just going in half. This is the true carry here of FL. The ADC comes in from the sidelines, but this Fennec is already up to the point where he is a true ADC, and he rips through every single one of them, one after the other. Ellie goes underneath the tower because ADC, of course, was already low, and that's going to be it. That's going to be the ace. It's going to be the mid-tier 2. Not enough time onto the clock, and that could be the game already. Mid-tier 3 is exposed. And that Nexus is down.
This double marksman is going to finish things off so quickly, and looks like we will have our second semi-finalist for the 2019 AIC. It will be Team Flash moving on to the semi-finals against IGP next week.
Oh man, that was so difficult for AHQ to kind of deal with. You know that they were having such trouble there. The thing with their composition is that AHQ have everything except damage.
Exactly. There's so much lockdown that we can see Team Flash really did not want to commit to any of these fights, but once ADC got to that critical mass as a Fennec, he just started destroying everyone on his own. He was behind the towers, he was just killing everyone with 2 shots, and that just sealed the deal there for Team Flash.
Just give it a little bit of time, you know.
Simmer in.
Simmer that in. Team Flash's last game, it wasn't as flashy as we thought it was, but they were able to sneak in a double ADC comp. And again, I keep telling this, Fennec, or rather, sorry, Slims isn't my favorite ADC as a pick because of how weird his win condition as a hero is. He's basically get a stun with the spear, win the game. But you never saw him get a stun with the spear. Now, if he tries to go for auto attacks, he's going to falter behind a Valheim, then
Fennec.
Shortly after, it's the Fennec.
And a Richter as well. He cannot play too in your face, nor can he be of any threat because of just how far behind he was in terms of items. He couldn't be the tank melter that we all know the Fennec, the Slims is, and you know, we had the player of the game, which was ADC, almost definitely on the Fennec. He was just absolutely phenomenal in this game.
Fantastic is also another word we can use to describe him. He kind of supplements everything. Like, he dives right into the backline, just depletes 2 of the members of team of AHQ, and then Ellie just comes in to kind of clean up house. But this is just the mentality of ADC. His ability to kind of find those nooks and crannies where Team Flash can actually find an advantage, and he just goes for it. He takes it, and it works out well for Team Flash. And that just means that we finished the day with a 4-2 standing.
Yeah, AHQ, they did try their best, but I think the depth of the heroes that they were comfortable with did come back and bite them in the end. Team Flash definitely played the chess game much better than the Thai team. And unfortunately, AHQ Esports Club, they are going to be happy with walking away with $16,000 US.
Yeah, still a incredible performance for Team Flash. Well, that does finish off our second day here in the quarterfinals, but that doesn't mean that we're done yet for the entirety of the playoffs. No. We still have ourselves the match tomorrow, and the day after that, it's going to be Buriram United Esports up against EVOS.
Another very star-studded match across both teams. So many fans for both these teams. We have one side, the Indonesians, obviously always rooting for EVOS, but Buriram, the best team in Thailand, trying to just wrest back the throne from the Vietnamese and just make it to the finals of AIC 2019.
And you know how popular AOV is in Thailand. All of our ads right now are Thai. Crazy. So like, come on, guys. We don't even know what the advertisement means. We don't know what they're talking about there. It seemed ridiculous just kind of like watching it and not knowing the subtitles. But yeah, we're just kind of looking forward to this. Also, this is going to add to the fact here. This is going to be IGP Vietnam up against Team Flash Vietnam.
So we will have a Vietnamese team in the finals,
either
whatever it happens.
Yeah, true. All right, so that is up, I guess, for tonight, for today. We're going to be seeing you tomorrow bright and early. We're going to have a different schedule, I believe.
Yes.
Can we announce it now?
Yep, it is going to be a 1 p.m. GMT +8, which is Singapore time. Or if you're from Thailand, it is at 2 p.m.
Is it 2? GMT +7?
I believe it's 2.
I believe it's 12.
Is it 12 or 2?
I think it's 12, because if we're +8 and they're +7, that's
they're 1 hour behind, yes.
Yeah,
so they start at 12, a bright and early game for both of the teams. But definitely, I think a lot of the Thai fans will be up and ready to watch one of their favorite teams play on stage.
All right, so it's going to be another... I keep saying this, but I feel like it is the case. Every single match here, I think except for the 4th quarterfinals, is David and Goliath. Buriram United Esports going to be going against EVOS Esports, who was even lower in Group A, underneath AHQ with like 0 points. Now, we're going to go and leave it to you guys. Again, this is the Arena of Valor International Championship 2019, presented to you by Tencent Games, Garena, CJENM, OGN, True Online, and True Icon Hall. I'm Asarai. Again, with me is Zero. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early for the third quarterfinals.
Thank you guys for watching. See you tomorrow.
Exactly.